We are awaiting some more inflation data just set to come through here to kick things off a little bit higher than expected, just coming out. November PPI readings 0.4% on the month over month there versus 0.3% expected. 0.2 on the core PPI month over month. 0.3 was expected there. So one higher, one to the downside. Overall, headline number higher as well, 3.4% versus 3.2% expected there again for the PPI. Got the CPI yesterday in line with expectations. Looks like this one a little bit to the upside. Initial jobless claims data 242,000 versus 225 expected, 1.8 million or 1.88 million versus 1.87 on the continuing claims on the week over week average there. So a little bit of mixed reading as far as those numbers here at 8:30 so far this morning. A little bit of a mixed result there for that's NVIDIA. We'll have a look at the overall market now. Downside on that PPI print primarily. That's the major chunk of the economic data that we'll get for today. There is a little bit more coming up tomorrow morning with import-export data. But yeah, you saw NVIDIA there. We'll have Adobe on the mind here this morning as well, still moving to the downside. The initial move higher after the close yesterday, and then it just got crushed on the forecast. Sliced through 500, hasn't looked back since this morning.
No, it's a tough look. Well, you know, it was that they beat, right? No, they did well on the quarter. It was the guide here that was kind of light. We'll talk about it, I guess, during the rundown. But their profit beat here, Fabian, up 1.68 billion. That was up from 1.84. The adjusted earnings per share exceeded expectations. Revenue continued to increase 11% year over year. But yeah, the full year 2025 guide as well, or sorry, the Q1 2025 guide as well as the full year coming in a little bit light. So selling off a little bit here in the pre-market.
Yeah, I was just seeing Broadcom just popping up there in front of me. Not one we typically look at in the pre-market here, but this had a huge day yesterday, all the way to 185 almost, but downtick there for AVGO. There was a headline for that yesterday. Uber and Lyft on the mind this morning as well, back higher here after that GM announcement. We'll touch on that. There's crypto moving around here once again. Actually looks pretty good so far. The individual equity is a little bit better off than Bitcoin itself, but also back down a little bit here on this move in the overall market, 0.6%. Still positive though to start, guys. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Although, thank you, PPI, for running a little teensy-weensy bit hot here. And yeah, now the market's down half a point, but I mean, after the exuberance, you get 20,000 yesterday on the NASDAQ.
2% there yesterday.
Yeah, like everything was so strong. I guess it probably doesn't take much to get a little bit of a pullback, but yikes, Adobe, probably surprising, I would say, some down 11%. It is what it is. Like, if you can beat you can beat, but if you guide poorly in a market like this, you end up getting beat down just a little bit here. But Tesla, still above 420, so that's always good. That psychological number, I feel like, is going to come into play today. Just rocket ships all around. Uber is making a little bit of a bounce. Bitcoin's back above 101. There's a host of individual crypto names to watch, although it's Hut 8 that out of nowhere is the one that's double digits to the upside. Yeah, so a lot to be paying attention to here. We'll let the market settle down after these numbers, but yeah, a little bit of a pullback so far. Not too crazy yet. I mean, Adobe's probably still the weakest name. And if you can't guess where I'd look SSR bounce, well, there's only one level on Adobe that there'd be any support, down at that 75. Or every even, the 80 level probably too as well. But might be some SSR bounces on this one for me today.
Yeah, Adobe, we were just talking about that with Fabian while he was mentioning it earlier about the subscription model and this and that. And it's pretty expensive. And then plus you got the competition there and a little bit of worry in their report from ChatGPT and whatnot. Tesla right now falling off the wrong side of the bed, it seems like, here this morning. Yeah, nothing to worry about. We're moving with the market. So it's not going to be stock specific here. But in some of these names, I said to Neil that we had the four big ones yesterday make all-time highs: Tesla, Google, Apple, and Amazon. And today, of course, you're going to get some of that exuberance. Looks to be coming out of the market. Yesterday's CPI was as expected. Today's PPI 3.4 versus 3.2, a little hotter. So we are getting a downside push here. Tesla down. only because we'll be talking about it. That's Tesla right there. And then Google trying to hold 195. It didn't, it looks like. So there goes this name to the downside as well. That 195 was your 200 period. Most of these names now, can't believe we shorted Palantir yesterday. Most of these names here were trying to hold, and there we go. Okay, see? So like Palantir down $1 right here in 5 minutes. So there goes that one. And the other one yesterday was Amazon that we wanted to have a quick. I mean, Apple's 246. Apple already fell from graces yesterday. It broke that 250 and then closed at 246. Amazon right here, again, decent drop down. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say everything's dropped down $1 here, but that's $1. Palantir's $1. Tesla's $4. So we'll have to watch out for all these plays. But wow, Amazon. I'm still feeling bullish today. This market's pretty heated up. We were lucky enough. It's going to look like a good fill. I don't know where this comes in for Uber, but Uber down 30% in a month seems to be a lot. So we bought more yesterday down there, and I think, like I was saying, we got filled at $60.60, which was pretty good fill right there. But we did close basically back at the lows, $61. And today we get a little story to the upside here for both Uber and for Lyft. I thought yesterday's story of GM scrapping Cruise there would have been a much better opportunity for, well, Lyft's not up that much better opportunity. Yeah, now the market's, is Tesla still going? Because that Tesla 420 marker is probably going to come into play right here before the market opens. And then yesterday, although NVIDIA was super strong yesterday, it went up to that 140 then stopped on a dime. This is a name that we know can get hit on a weaker NASDAQ.
They're the first one to get hit, I think, on a weaker NASDAQ.
So I'm going to, I've got some, I don't have any shorts on here yet. I was looking at crypto. Actually, like the fact that Bitcoin right now is holding this 100,000, I really like the long, man. I mean, you got $4,000 right here in Ethereum. You've got 101,000. Let's just call it that. I don't know, 108.
Yeah.
Close enough. But anyways, I was looking at IBIT, just thinking about taking out this 58. It's going to be on the sticky note as well here today. You have that high of 58.20, which is what I've indicated on here. I really like it. We had it early yesterday right here, and then we had the break and the retest back to VWAP yesterday. So IBIT was a really good trade yesterday. We'll see if it can continue, and then shaking my head at SMR because I think he could have bought some more down there in and around that 21 area. We could get another opportunity for that today. I just saw NNE was moving around as well here. Palantir's really, I mean, that's going to be another problem. Yesterday that stopped at 67 or so. Yesterday, yeah, what was that? Yeah, 68. All right. Well, anyways, the market's still fine, man. I mean, you're still above that. Well, okay, we talk about the futures. Like yesterday was the first time that the NASDAQ itself broke 20,000. The futures are 21.7 right now, 21,664.
Yeah, it's getting a little spicy this downside. I feel like it's early, but I didn't think we'd see that 420. You knew there could be moves off these numbers, but I didn't think we'd see this 420 that fast. Actually, when you mentioned NVIDIA, the first thing that popped in my mind was, oh, you've got to be kidding me. Like AMD did get to that support at 125, bouncing off 126. But I like this one also. If you're looking for short plays, like this has been a short till it's not kind of story, and it's underneath this 132. So yeah, as long as it's under 132, I'm going to like it. I didn't actually have it on my note because I too was kind of bullish. But is what it is. The market is reacting to the downside. It'll let us settle down a little bit here. Let's go back to the desk. We're starting to catch a little bit of a bid here in the market. I think you want to make sure if you're on bids today, you're buying those strong stocks. Like today probably not a day to be fighting with some of those bad boys.
All right, a few things moving around here. Still green on Coinbase there. I was just noting crypto, Bitcoin here is holding up a little bit better than the actual underlying equities right now. We're right there, right at the high right now. So we'll keep an eye on where Bitcoin goes today. But yeah, downside here for Coinbase. Mara as well had a nice spike to the downside there. So a few things to consider. There was movement in MSTR as well around that 830 number back to 410. I mean, the guys are talking about Elon there, or Tesla at least, Elon coming off his 400 million plus day yesterday. Unbelievable. He sold. I was reading this morning. He sold some shares of SpaceX on the secondary market which boosted that by about 40 million or 40 billion. I should.
How can we get our hands on those? Brendo? I know. I want to get my hands on those. Yeah, Daiwa Capital also chiming in on Tesla today with a price target upgrade from 285 all the way up to $400 over here. Basically citing robo-taxi and cybercab development as really leading the tailwind, citing strong financial position as well of Tesla relative to other EV plays. Then they like it. And they basically talk about that $30,000 price target for the cybercab. Didn't mention the Model Q that we got wind a few days ago. Obviously, still unconfirmed by the company, but yeah, they're getting a bit of a nod today. Down though, Brendo, down 0.83 to start the day.
Yeah, and continuing to fall here for Tesla. I was reading your boy Danny Ives saying that autonomous driving alone is $1 trillion market cap to be added to Tesla just on its own on that self-driving aspect for Elon and crew. So they're talking about 625 by the end of next year.
You know, everybody always harps on him for being like this permabull and, you know, having his interest and pumping up his book, but everything he sees, everything he seems to say, Brendo, seems to be coming to fruition, so I wouldn't be so quick to dismiss him.
Yeah. Is this a pre-market kind of move here, guys, a liquidity issue, or just maybe a down day here?
Yeah, look, we'll have to... You will have to see. I think sometimes the other thing to keep in mind too is the last 15 minutes of the day, Tesla put in $7 to the upside, and oftentimes when you get like a big closing move, you tend to look at where was it actually settling in the afternoon. Like the 420 level, like there's your consolidation. That's where it eventually bounced off of that level. So I'd almost feel like that feels like the closing price to me. Like it's not where it closed, but a lot of times I like to look at that as a more key level. So that needs to hold here for Tesla. It's weird when people say someone's talking up their own book. I mean, if you're an investor, what else would you be talking up? I don't know, because like the things that you have bought are presumably the things that you like and you believe in. So those are the things that you would talk positively about. I get it. I understand. It is what it is. But you have to keep in mind how far and Tesla has come and how quickly it's done so. So it's not quite a double from this October consolidation, but like effectively, like you're coming from the 200 level, just above the 200 level to get to this 420. So there have been some pretty decent pullbacks before, like the 360 pullback almost came down into $300. It's not insane that we would get some kind of a pullback, whether it's today or not. I think the 420 is going to have a lot to say about that. And if we can't hold, you can kind of see like the prior high, like when I left, 410 was the high. That'd be the next place to look for. Lots of consolidation at that price as well. I do think the buyers will come back into this stock, no questions asked. At some point, that's what they do. But you're just going to have to be a little bit patient. And every time I always do this where I was like, I just want to throw in some Rivian love to talk about a name that we never talk about here, which just always seems to be the case. This is on a bit of it had a nasty day yesterday. It's on a bit of a pullback after its breakout, and it feels like it wants back into this 13 level, like 1280 to 13 on Rivian. So it got to $15, great, yay, congratulations. And now it seems like it wants to pull back into this 13 area here for Rivian. This would be one if it does some kind of if the market gets some kind of a bounce and it couldn't get back above like the afternoon highs, that would be something I'd add to the short list, but not Tesla.
Yeah, no, Tesla for me, I mean, we had the trade yesterday, 403 long, right off the open, or not right off the open. It dripped into the open there. And by drip, I mean, it took out 410, ripped up to 413, then cracked down $10. And then we finally were able to find some kind of support here from the previous day. The problem here is you can't go long, you can't do anything with the pre-market today because we've already broken that level a lot lower now. So now we have to sort of think about, all right, either we've just made that bottom at 420, which, I mean, no surprise, that's exactly, I mean, that might be to the penny there. I can't zoom in on these charts, but I mean, we could zoom in like this to see exactly what that bottom was. So there it is right there, 420.03, like you can't make that stuff up. But at the end of the day, you know, there is a downside pressure to the name because of sort of what Neil was talking about right there, right? You had that huge ramp up yesterday into the close, and now you're just going to give a little bit of it back on market weakness. So Brendan asked, is it a liquidity problem? Is there a problem with the stock here? No, I don't think it's either one of those things. I just think it's a movement to the downside, some profit taking a little bit there on some nervous hands, maybe from that PPI. Markets at all-time highs. There's going to be buyers and sellers. There's algos that come in and sell Mag 7 stocks every time the NASDAQ ticks down. They buy it every time it ticks up. So if the NASDAQ can recover, I think Tesla does that as well. And then you're going to be wondering why we didn't take 428 long at one point. So I like the stock. It's only 8:45. This is going to get on the watch list, and we're going to talk more about this. So let's let it settle down right now. A lot of talk here on Tesla today. Yesterday for GM, and we're going to get back to the desk in 1 second. Yesterday for GM, we did have that news that they were sort of scrapping their Cruise, which is their automated driving wing, and they took pretty big hit on it, but it's nice to sort of regroup, I guess, for them. I mean, and this is at a level here where I think there's some interest. This is trading, I think it was at 7 or 8 times. I'll have to check. So relatively on the valuation side of things, this is a name that you could probably get pretty cheap right now, back down to the 50-period moving average. And then you do have support down here at 47 with the 200 period. So I think there's something here to be said about GM. Like GM from 60 down to 50, right? So you take this haircut in the last 2 weeks. So Tesla's heated up. Obviously, it's a completely different company than GM, but in the auto space, we went over some Rivian, some GM, and I'm not even going to open up Ford. So Volkswagen's been getting hit as well. So lots of stuff.
They've all been getting, Stellantis has been getting hit. They all look pretty nasty.
Yep.
So that's.
There he is. Steve Gomez is joining us from Trade Ideas, back on the show for the first time in a while. Steve, going to be jumping in from time to time going forward. Steve, good to see you.
Good to see you. Hello, Toronto. Thanks for having me back. It's dark here in West Coast San Diego, but I'm ready to go.
It's much warmer, I imagine, in West Coast San Diego. We appreciate you jumping on.
I'm not going to complain about our winters. I don't want that.
Yeah, we'll keep it. Don't worry. We'll keep it up here. It was, I don't even know what the equivalent is, but it's cold this morning here so far. Still dry, which is kind of nice. But anyways, we want to talk about the silly season going into the holidays here. We've been hitting on this over the past couple of weeks here, in the past couple of days specifically. You start to see that shift away from, the traditional movement almost over all of the market. I mean, there's still a lot of focus on the Mag 7, the bigger cap names, but a lot of high flyers, a lot of low float names. What do you make of, I guess, looking back here over the past couple of weeks, the price action we've seen, and what is it that we're paying attention to here going into the holidays, Steve?
Well, the price action has been just great across the board. I mean, aside from the rotation that's happening out there in the big tech stuff or in the big cap stuff, I want to focus really on the darlings of the small cap. And what I really mean is like the second and third tier names of some of these sectors that have just really come to life. And I'm going to highlight 3 sectors going into what we call, the silly season. Brian Shannon and I both agree this is my favorite time of year. I've been doing this so many years that every year it's the same thing. Something happens where there's a darling sector of small cap names, and for whatever reason, maybe it's retail taking time off, maybe it's institutional sell desks taking time off, but there's always just this wonderful move higher into the holidays, from Thanksgiving into Christmas. So my highlight on the silly season is basically they've got to be small cap names, and ideally second and third tier names. Like you said, a lot of low float stuff going on out there, and it's just a great time of year. If you're expecting it, you can have that confidence behind you because you've seen it seasonally year after year. And so I like to call it small cap euphoria, and again focusing on second and third tier names. So like I said, I've got 3 sectors I want to focus on, and I actually have a trade in one of each of these 3 sectors. And I want to start with, of course, AI. Everybody knows about the AI names. And technically speaking, the way I like to play these is, it's like a big jump rope. and they get going. You don't want to chase them, but you want to lay back and wait for that jump rope to come back around and hit the timing just right. And in my case, the timing is the 10-day simple moving average. I use that because I like to keep it simple. And in this case, I'm basically setting price alerts. You can see in BBAI, there's a blue line there. That's my trade ideas price alert. I just kind of eyeball where a pullback to the 10 SMA would be, and I set it and I forget it. And then it pops up, and then I evaluate it. And so in this case, this was my trade yesterday. I did take a trade in BBAI. And as we get later on the slides, I'll show you more in depth how I take these contrarian trades to try and really make sure they're working for me. But the point is AI sector here. Here's 4 names to keep an eye on if you haven't heard of them. I'm also in MDAI. MDAI. If it has AI after the 4 symbols, the last 2 symbols are AI, you're probably going to be okay. But I'm finding more and more as I keep searching around. But let's move forward. Yeah, the next one is our quant sector. This one's really coming to life. Some interesting names. ARQQ is the one I got involved yesterday on this one. The pullback there to the rising 10 SMA. That's my level to jump in and be a contrarian trader and take entries. They're usually like a half stab. No cannonballs in the deep end, but just kind of jump in and wade in and see what's happening. So 4 more names for you there in the quant sector, which is really coming to life. And then I heard somebody mention SMR coming up on this 3rd sector here, which is our nano nukes. This one's a little different, however. This one has been a darling. To go back to your first question, this was just a great trade around this whole sector, October into November. And then you can see it kind of broke. And then this is an example of using the 50-day moving average. Again, just the general line of health, as Brian Shannon likes to say. Highlighting that blue 50-day moving average, I'm doing the same type of thing. I took a stab in SMR yesterday, and I've got another chart coming up to kind of show you more in depth on how I did that. But let me just take a quick moment here. Why is this space so hot? I don't know if you guys talked about it or heard about it, but Elon Musk just pulled off the insanity of putting together 100,000 NVIDIA GPUs, stringing them together and getting them talking in like 19 or 20 days. And he literally blew the doors off anybody's expectation of Google or Microsoft. They said it can't be done. He went to bed and stayed up late and figured out a new way to re-architecture this. And now he's just blown everybody away in how he did this so quickly. What does that mean? These giant AI data centers that he's building and others are building, how are they going to power? They just can't hook up to the local municipality and tap their power. They need small modular nuclear technology to power up these plants. And I think that's the euphoria you see in this sector. So the 3rd sector being the nano nuclear sector, which is a precursor to the demand needs that are really going to be coming up. And as we move forward a little bit, I'll kind of in depth talk about the 15-minute chart as, when I say my price alert goes off on these at the 10 SMA or the 50 SMA, I zoom in, okay? Now, we've talked about the 10 SMA. That alerts me to the play. Well, then I watch. I wait until the price gets above the 10 SMA and retakes it. So it's no longer being oppressive. It's now being supportive, kind of like a bird in the hand. That little green candle was my entry point in SMR. I knew I was coming on today, so I snapshotted that. And then just above that is the declining 5-day moving average. Again, a nod to Brian Shannon. He taught me many years ago, 130 periods in a 15-minute candle will give you a perfect 5-day moving average. And I like to view it on this particular time frame. So that was my entry in SMR yesterday. And 2 more examples going forward. Like I said, I take a half entry and then I wait for the clearing of that aforementioned 5-day moving average. And that's when I take the full position. So those are 3 positions that I've taken coming in today using that contrarian entry method, focusing on the darling sectors of AI, quant, and nano nukes. So here we are.
Yeah, Steve, just to give you
today, we've got the IWM a little weak.
Yeah, a little bit to the downside here. Just to give some more context here as far as timing for anyone who's wondering, okay, is this a 2-week kind of a play? Is this a 6-month kind of a play? What's your timing on those ideas?
Yeah, I'm sorry I left that out.
Yeah, no worries.
I am a day-and-a-half trader. I've just learned that if I find myself in a momentum trade that goes all day and stays and closes on highs, I'm taking it home. I'm either going to get a gap up the next day or a little bit of fudging around and then move to highs. It seems like there's something about a day and a half that just works perfectly for my move. And so as I get into the second day, I start flipping and becoming sellers, laddering out in small pieces. Might keep a little chunk to see if it can go crazy, because sometimes they do. But yeah, great question.
Yeah, so I mean, we're not saying, this is the next, whatever, Microsoft or Apple company you need to invest in for the rest of your life. These are just, quick, short plays to.
I like to surf the market. I'm in San Diego. I don't surf. I got hit in the head with a board too many times to want to do that. But I use that as an analogy. I position and I make a couple turns and then bail out the backside, get my cash back, and I look for the next opportunity setup like I just went through.
Sounds great. Going into the holidays, what's new over at Trade Ideas?
We have something called the Money Machine that's coming out. It's in development right now. It's basically leveraging 23 years of technology, taking our scans and trying to automate it. So you're always in the top 3 names, and you just kind of sit back and let the scan that you've built just work through the names for you in an auto trading type of capacity. That's going to be coming out in early 2025. We'll talk more about that as we get there. It's still kind of in the testing phase. As you can imagine, there's a lot of nuances to kind of tweak around and a lot of scenarios to test, but we're testing that now.
We look forward to hearing more about that. Best of luck on a what should be an interesting day here. I mean, we had some inflation data that wasn't so hot. CPI yesterday kind of in line with expectation. PPI taking the market down here a little bit this morning. We'll see how things go today.
Yep, I'm optimistic, but manage risk. That's what I'll be doing on those entries that I just showed you.
Steve Gomez over at Trade Ideas. Good to see you.
Thanks.
All right, guys, Boeing getting an upgrade today from North Coast. They're liking the fact that they're focusing back on their 737-800 MAX production, so keep an eye out on that. Deutsche Bank upgrading both Coca-Cola and Pepsi today, so keep your eye on that one. Constellation Energy continues to ride up with that whole SMR AI energy trade up 2.25 in the pre-market here, and GitLab getting an upgrade from Macquarie. Adobe, after earnings yesterday, down as their guide came in a little bit light. They beat on the top and bottom line for this quarter's earnings. Hershey's also down on the day with Wells Fargo, downgrading that and reducing the price target to $160. Kenvue as well, getting the downgrade today from Deutsche Bank, down 1.25 in the pre-market. And T-Mobile, last but not least, getting downgraded today by KeyBank Capital Management after they guided that the device upgrades were light as well as customer acquisition. So keep your eyes on these 8 guys.
Yeah, and Boeing's doing it. It's happening for Boeing. It feels like it's almost at that 200 period moving average, which has been wholly rejected since the beginning of the year. You close above that. I mean, it's already closed the 50 period and made the first leg, broke out that 165. Obviously, that happened in earnest yesterday. Like it was 165 was weird on a couple of days ago. But yeah, Boeing looks fantastic at these levels. I think it's up right now in a down market. I mean, if we were to trend down, that 165 now double bottom on the bid and a prior close as well. So I think you've got a nice little dip buy zone in Boeing. Ideally, the best way is once we close above that 200 period moving average, I'm looking for a buy in Boeing. It's almost there. 171 would be that. Are we strong enough to get there today? I don't know. It's not really. I mean, the market's holding on to some of these bottoms, so still feel like we're a little bit weak. But this is the name on that upgrade downgrade list that catches my attention. Obviously, we'll talk about Adobe, of course, when we get into the watch list. But yeah, Boeing starting to look really good. Allow stocks to make that bottom. Now it's on the breakout train.
Nice to have Steve Gomez back. Thank you, Steve, for some of those talks there. I like the nuclear space for a minute for sure. Yesterday we got a question from Nimrod. The best.
What's up, Nimrod?
What's up, Nimrod? Hopefully, if you're watching there, you asked about possibly getting diversified into some other spaces here. Coca-Cola is not a horrible name. I mean, nice little fall back in. The problem is we're underneath the 200 period moving average. But if you're looking at some names here that could possibly hold, that's on the upgrade side today. So we'll have to wait to see. But it's bouncing nicely off of this area. So $61, $62 here for KO. A big Berkshire name there. You can also, I just wanted to see what Pepsi was doing as opposed to it. But yeah, Coke, good spot there. Some of these names have been beat up, of course. Wow, Pepsi especially here. It looks like due to, again, some of the GLP-1 concerns of, less snacking and then you have RFKJ coming in there and going to be talking about, food and the quality of the different foods that we've been seeing. And I mean, I don't know if there's going to be a limit on there's not going to be, but, you know, maybe a limit on sugar content, or I don't know. But, you know, if we talk more about natural foods and stuff like that, then a Pepsi is not going to, I mean, they're huge in the snack food area. And we all know that, you know, the artificial coloring and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know. For me, I like, and again, Coke's the same way, right? I mean, you have the Coke product itself, Sprite, anything that people are drinking these days that come from a can seems like maybe not the greatest. But right now, Coke up 1% on an upgrade and coming into a level that, you know, again, big American company. We've seen Nike, Starbucks, a lot of these names try to battle off some levels. So I don't mind Coke down here. It's been pretty beat up. I mean, that's a pretty good opportunity to buy some on the cheap there. So yeah, I don't mind KO there. Just another name that we don't talk about often enough.
That's a knockout long opportunity.
Oh, because it's a KO?
Right, to the desk.
Yeah,
I mean,
as long as it's not. I mean, it's a. If it was triple levered, then I guess it would be a TKO.
Boom.
As
See?
well. So, you know, we do have a lot of levered products.
Bang, bang.
In there right now. But that's a good one. Yeah, that isn't. I don't know if it's a knockout long.
Well,
I mean, investors are getting knocked out right now.
Well, I don't. Yeah, it's more of a pun than anything else.
No,
No, I do like Coke. I do like Coke. I actually, you know
We're
what?
missing Adara today. She's off today. So.
Somebody's got to make up for it, or maybe we don't. But let's see what's going on.
Thank you, Randy, for the
What is that fade?
banana.
Oh, there it is. We're fading into the futures. Let's see what's going on with the futures.
Like that. That's a good trading session, Fabian. Now, guys, all right, 60.93. That's where we closed out yesterday on the ES December contract. We're still having trouble with 6,100. Unsurprising there as a resistance level. We've been above it, but we haven't been able to close above it. So it was a good day for the major averages yesterday. We're already down a quarter point to start the day. So we're looking again at 6,100 as resistance. If we continue to sell off, 60.50 as support.
If you haven't done so yet, make sure you take advantage of an absolutely free resource. Go down to the description of this video right now. Top link in the description will take you to the sign-up page. You just need an email address, and then you get the watch list from us every single day for absolutely nothing. Absolutely packed this morning is that watch list. We'll start with Adobe here. Down significantly. It was more than that at one point, but now 10.75%. Fabian's very upset about this because he's a big fan of Adobe products in general. But yeah, I mean, the numbers were actually pretty good. It was the 2025 forecast that was a problem.
Exactly it. They beat on the top and bottom line, even though the EPS was an adjusted EPS. They did exceed analyst expectations for both profit, EPS, and revenue. Revenue continuing to increase 11% year over year, surpassing the $5.54 billion that was that they estimated. So the CEO there credited results to strong demand and the role of Adobe's products in the AI economy. However, when we're talking about the Q1 2025 guide, the EPS did align with analyst expectations, but revenue fell short with respect to the full year look here for 2025. Both revenue and adjusted earnings per share both missed estimates, Brendo.
This ended the day yesterday basically exactly in the middle of this daily range. We're back to the bottom end of it now, guys. What do we do here with Adobe?
Well, I mean, it's going to be down 10%, so I'm going to probably look for an SSR bounce. But just to keep things in perspective, if you look at the weekly chart of Adobe, it's been like it's already been making some lower highs. So I think, you know, in an environment like this, when you miss that guide, you know, were you really going to break out? When you miss that guidance, you look at the daily, it's going to show you the same thing. You had the lower high that was going to get challenged on any strength. And so I look to first support at 475, right? Like you're already underneath, in theory, like 500 could have put up a battle. I think that's, if it were to pop back up to the 50-period moving average, which is just above 500, that could be a good fade spot. No, but I'm just going to look for an SSR bounce. A pre-market low double bottom at 485. So if it does a dip and rip off of that level, I'd look for a mean reversion. If we lose 485, then you've got that 75 level out there on the daily. And it's just a very particular setup, right? Like you trend down, break trend, break a steep trend, and bounce. As long as it's short sell restricted, that's the play I'm looking for on Adobe. I think you let it settle down. But for the longer term, let it settle down for a couple of days and see if it'll end up holding that 475. Probably just fine in the long run. But you know, when you've got overhead resistance and you guide poorly, sometimes the result is a down move bigger than you might expect.
Yeah, you're still, I don't know, I just drew a little bit here from the top of 2021. here for Adobe. So if you take the top and you just bring it back down to where we just were yesterday, right there, we're still in a pretty good downtrend from there. Obviously, you could draw it this way, and we've already broken way below it. So you got to use the top instead of the bottom right here. But if you're going to draw another line, you could also go like this, basically, right into there. So here we go, man. Like, we got this formation, and it's looking like, you know, the sellers don't want to wait around. It just failed off the top. Now you're just in this little channel here, and it looks like it wants to try to hold. I think you could get the SSR bounce, but at the end of the day, this break, then you're back into here 440. This is where I think you buy it, and then we could just draw another line right into here where we had some past maybe support. So if you're going to do something, I think fading, breaking this trend line right here, bringing it back into past support, I think 440 to me makes some sense there on Adobe. Look, I mean, the thing about them, they have software that, although there's competition out there, the reason why they're doing these kind of numbers, you know, we're talking about $23.5 billion. This is not like, you know, chump change as far as sales is concerned. They have huge customers. They just added 2 languages, both French and German. I mean, they're opening up the borders here. I like everything to do with technology. And this is a big name, and that's a big part of everything. So I think you just buy the weakness here. I'm not sure about down 10%. If it's a name that you're averaging into, this would be a good opportunity to do it. But we just sort of broke down what I think is happening right now. I think look, if you hold this, you're going to look like a genius, right? That's why I think you can nibble in a little bit here. And I think, though, with the most recent activity, you know, you could get a day 2 play in and around this 460-ish area. And then I think you start to buy it with a little more oomph in your pep, in your step on that one. Pep. So anyways, down 11 here. You probably do get an SSR bounce right off the open.
President-elect Trump getting set to ring the bell at the NYSE coming up this morning. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's go on here. NVIDIA to the downside, as we were touching on there, 138 was trying to hold there. It looks like it's below right now. This was that note I was talking about earlier, $2 trillion in market cap, possibly. Dan Ives pointing to for Tesla specifically. He also mentions, though, if you scroll down here a little bit, he also mentions another 25% in market cap possible for both Apple and NVIDIA coming up in the next 2 years, in fact, for both of those. So more upside from, I mean, Dan Ives just loves tech.
And he's got great sense of style too, Brendo. So everything's fine. All right, let's talk about some of the headlines today for NVIDIA. One is a holdover from yesterday. It was a lawsuit in the Supreme Court that rejected their appeal to dismiss a securities lawsuit here, Fabian. So what happened was the allegations were that NVIDIA misled investors back in 17 and 18 by downplaying its reliance on revenue growth from crypto sales. That was when crypto was really booming back then, and they apparently, according to the allegations, they misled investors. The headline from today, basically they're circulating online rumors that NVIDIA plans on decreasing its supply of products to China. They went on Chinese social media, and in Mandarin that they wrote that this was not true, and kind of dispel the rumors. So we'll have to keep an eye on it this morning. Already down though, Brendo, here about 1%.
Yeah, I mean, the whole market trying to bounce right now, so we are getting a bit of an uptick here, guys. Still, yeah, pretty negative for NVIDIA to start.
Before us, so, look, NVIDIA it had a good day yesterday. But if we're looking at sort of the general trend, like it had been rolling over. We're at that 50 period on the daily. And obviously, you know, with that bounce, you can see where it turned. Prior resistance at that 140 level, my play was just me over under. Like if we're not breaking away from 140 above, then I want to look for short at that 140 level. The only thing that would stand in the way of that is like AMD is a very similar story. The only difference is AMD is weaker. And AMD just lost this support level at 132, sort of gapping underneath, and now 132's turned into resistance. And you can sort of see that you had the recovery, you've got that nice little rounded bottom. Could it break away from 132? Of course it could. But if we're not breaking out above the 132 here in AMD, then I want to look for the short under. So it's the same way I feel about the 140 on NVIDIA as how I'm going to feel about $132 over an AMD. And then the only other chip name that I probably look at is, you probably guessed it, I mean, Intel on a continuation. It hasn't gotten to $18, so it's been stair-step down, and the last step, 20.5 is resistance. So unless it gets above 20.5, this is, I mean, we've been saying it's a short till it's not, which the next level is 18 on the daily chart for this thing. So if it gets up to like 20.5, this little channel, you short that, you think you're good to go. For 3 days in a row, it did the same thing at 21, where it was just free money scalping at the 21, looking for the same here at 2050. So yeah, I'm kind of still bearish on the chips in general. Most of the other names I still feel bullish on.
All right, so yeah, same difference basically right here. So I wrote it down here on the sticky note the same way here today, that PPI seems to have thrown some cold water on the names, but it hasn't really. The market's come right back up, so maybe this is wrong. But semis would like to stay focused and short. So there we go, AMD and NVIDIA. NVIDIA's at 140, AMD's at 132. I'm looking for those for setup plays. Pretty obvious there. So we have a couple names. I got 5 or 6 names there on the sticky note. And this is the play that I like. So for AMD, up here, yesterday we couldn't get to 132. We got to 131.30s. That was a nice little rally at the end of the day before falling off into the close. But we couldn't get there. So if we can't get there yesterday, and yesterday was a huge day, then yeah, I'm looking to short that 132 area. And there it is right there. It was the top a couple of days ago, right where we opened up, and then we've fallen through there. So for me, we got to get rid of the last couple of days in order for this name to obviously rally. And I don't see anything right now on our headline board to make AMD rally. So we're going to go short AMD. Trend is your friend to the downside. Obviously, this 200 period is broken, and now we're on top of it. So getting a little interesting here to see if semis can rally. Now, the more nervous hands for me, because yesterday we were long and then short, and I think net relatively flat, but down on NVIDIA yesterday. It was a little tricky to trade. We had saw this huge move down yesterday right off the open, and we were like, boom, we knew the market was short, right? And if it was, then we're going to be on NVIDIA. We had Tesla dropping down. We had NVIDIA dropping down. But then all of a sudden, it just got going, gave us that idea that maybe 38 was going to be that break level. It was not. This is where we went long and wound up getting out here in and around 137, taking that dollar hit before eventually it coming back in and watching out for that support level, and then it was off to the races, man. Straight up $5 was probably one of the best longs there yesterday. Obviously, we had Google and we had Amazon. We had a lot of names cracking highs, but from that bottom to that top, $5 on 135, that was a great move, right? And then we faded back out, but at the end of the day, we still had problems with this 140. So great move, stops at 140. Now we're all the way down here. Can we get another one of those moves back up to 140? Yes, we can. And I think that if that winds up happening, then we're going to be sitting there waiting for the short again. So, hey, look, we're not going to do what we did yesterday. And Obi and I was looking at each other and we're like, why are we long 407 or whatever on Tesla? It was either the 410 or the 400. So you're caught in the middle. Then you have to make a decision. Well, we don't need to make any decisions here. You either go short and you use this 200 period, which is the high of the day, the pre-market right into here. You want to get out if it breaks 139. But for me, let's just put another dollar on its name and see if we can't hover somewhere around 139.80, 140. So I'm sitting here right now, 139.80 for the short on NVIDIA, and then right into there. My day just got a lot better because Ramin just walked in. So that's a great thing for everybody here at Trader T.
Floated up that day.
Yeah, she elevated into her spot right there. So now she can give Sharif a hard time. So that's great. True. Yeah, we will. And then we also 132, roughly the short for AMD. We will now elevate your minds with the amazing. Who's reading it? Neil Roberts?
What? I'm reading an ad?
No, the desk.
Nobody.
Brought to you by our friends over at Worksport, a U.S.-based manufacturer rapidly expanding and growing revenues, government contracts, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off-grid. Whether you're on the move or seeking sustainable energy solutions, Worksport has you covered. Now trading on the NASDAQ under WKSP. Discover the future of clean energy with Worksport. Speaking of being listed on the NASDAQ, it hasn't been, it's been, let's face it, very quiet on the IPO front so far in 2024. Here comes the latest one coming up today. We'll get ServiceTitan Another one of these, there we go. Another one of these, they're only coming to market with 8.8 million shares. But hey, they're pricing it at $71 a share. So it's actually a decent size as far as notional is concerned, but this is just, again, a fraction of the company.
Exactly. I know they're with this 8.8 million shares, they're going to raise about $625 million, values the company around $6.3 billion. Here's what they do. They provide cloud-based software for contractors, assisting with marketing, sales, scheduling, customer service. Specifically, though, they're looking for contracting services that are small, kind of family-owned, and helping them advance with good technology there. With respect to revenue, here's what they did last time they reported, about almost $200 million, actually, I should say, in revenue, but they are not profitable. Last time around, they reported a $47 million net loss, which actually widened from the previous $40 million, Brenda, which is kind of growing pains, but we'll see how they trade today.
I haven't read much about this, but if it is what I think it is, this is actually a really good service. If anyone's gone through a renovation in recent times, one of the things that contractors will tend to do now is provide you with a login to a website that has all the progress of the plan and the details and how things are going and updates. So I found that really, really helpful when we were going through it, and that was a couple of years ago. So I mean, as I was saying, guys, there hasn't been much. I mean, we talked about Reddit. We talked about Cava was another one. Here comes another 8.8 million share IPO at some point today.
Yeah.
It'd be a low float name, basically.
And I think because it's a low float, it's one of those, whenever it does open up, and there's no guarantees. I mean, sometimes, I'd like to hope that it opens up before 11 o'clock, but how many times we've seen it's noon, it's 1 o'clock, you've eaten your lunch, and you're still waiting around. There's not going to be a quote for it until then. I'd love to see it give you a reasonable price to go for like that open long, but the other play usually is, let's just say price is 71, let's say it opens up like an 85. I'm just going to throw that number out there. If I see it open at an 85 and there's massive size on the bid, 84 half or at 85 even, I might just see it bounce off that and then just look for the continuation long. So I want to see buyers out in front of the level. If it opens at like 100 and something, I don't know how much I'm going to love it, but we'll keep our eyes on it. I think you got to consider it's not Reddit, but let's keep in mind, it's not going to hurt that you have something like a Reddit, which is the last big one, looking so strong, or has been so incredibly strong. So I don't think this is like that, but it's going into a bull market, which, finally you have some more IPOs, and I think this is one that I'd like to take the trade on off of the open, so long as it has one of those big support levels that you can play off. It's kind of a gimmick trade because you're scalping in and out of it, and then maybe hold a piece in case it continues to run. But if it loses first support, hands off. I'll probably even pay for locates on that case.
Yeah, I think you have to pay for locates no matter what on a stock like this, because we don't know if it's going to be a short or a long, but I would say it's going to be a long would be my guess here because of the low float. We had a question in the chat there from Bill. What's the symbol? TTAN. You can see it right there on our screen, and I just want to show you right now what it looks like. It's blocked out, so we don't have any quotes really on it yet. It's not set up for trade. There's no tap here or anything as of yet. We can quickly check out the imbalance locator to see if there is anything. Oh no, it's a NASDAQ name. So yeah, there won't be anything on here anyways till 9:25. So as soon as 9:25 hits, we'll see the locator. The locator is going to be important because that'll give us hopefully an idea of when they're all paired off, and then they can open up, and then we can initially see if it's going to be a big buy or a big sell. I would say it's going to be a bid, so a buy. So we'll wait to see if that does come through. But TTAN on our mind, right? The first big IPO in a couple of years. We had great results from Cava, great results from Reddit. ARM had a good IPO as well. So we'll wait to see. But these names do not. These are probably not investable levels. You just saw Reddit IPO, then fell down, found a base, and then took off. Obviously, if you bought any price on Reddit, as it's at 52-week highs and all-time highs, you would have been right. So let's just figure out what's going on with this name, low floater, and we'll figure out where it goes from here. But like Neil said, priced at 71, there's no way it opens up at 71. This is going to probably have 3 digits on it.
I'm hoping 8.
Initial indications typically coming up as it gets closer and closer as well that we'll pass along to you. Let's go on to crypto. Here's Coinbase, 0.6 back to green on the day. We briefly, anyways, went red on most of these equities related to, I mean, Bitcoin's not really doing anything, hanging out right I mean, near or at the highs on a higher time frame daily chart. But some of these equities holding up pretty well so far.
Yeah, HUD 8 is up really aggressively here in the pre-market, Brendo, 15.89% on the back of this upgrade here, Fabian, from Jones Trading. They initiated coverage on HUD 8. They're expressing a lot of confidence in the company's strategic position as well as their long-term potential. Specifically, what they're citing is their recent merger with US Bitcoin Corp, which resulted in an expanded capacity and revenue diversification. They're also really impressed with their proprietary operations, specifically in AI and high-performance computing. And how could it hurt that they have a whole lot of crypto that they're Bitcoin specifically that they're holding in reserve, Brendo?
Yeah, let's see how the day plays out here. But so far, kind of muted, guys, for crypto.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, obviously, you know, like that number, the 100,000 number, like it's big psychologically, but it hasn't mattered a ton. You know, essentially, we're just bouncing back and forth above it. Like maybe this is the higher low dip where we actually stay above the 100 level, challenge that 104 and break it back out. I think locally today, I mean, we're talking about day trading, so you know, the 102 is what we got to watch. If we're able to break that out, then obviously there's a few things that could really go. Now have a look. Starboard. So 321 is a breakout level on Coinbase. I just heard Starboard is taking a take in Riot. So Riot's actually moving now. Starboard taking an interest or actually taking a stake in Riot. That was kind of timely. Obviously, this just moved about $1.50, now up double digits, and is going to be on the radar. You got HUD 8 that's also up. They just basically caught an upgrade, but yeah, like that's, I mean, the breakout at that 321 on Coinbase, that would have been the same thing as Riot 1220. Congratulations if you randomly happen to have that as it continues to go higher. Where's that top in the daily? Like 14 bucks. 14 would be a big one, but I almost think if it can hold on to these prior highs, like look at the resistance at 13. You have one close above. The resistance at 13, that turning into support will look really good there for Riot. Yeah, I mean, after seeing this, it's going to be hard not to try to pivot at the open to trade Riot. Riot's probably going to do the best relative volume now that this has happened. We'll let this one settle down back in. But, you know, that Coinbase 321 does look good. Just obviously when Riot right in front of you spikes $1.50, it's going to get your attention. Just in a couple million shares, too.
Yamara also right here as well, starting to go to the
Sympathy,
upside,
yeah.
right? So marathon here. Nice move there in sympathy. So just showing it to everybody if you're in either one of these names. Been a good run, obviously, off of some of those bottoms there. We talked about $16 a couple times, and it's come in a couple times. So good play there, Amara. You got to believe in it. That's all. And if you believe in it, then it's a hold. Probably, like Neil said, probably a good day trade today now that we've seen this. So I would rather trade I'd rather trade Riot on the news than Mara, and Neil just went over some levels. I wrote it down here on the sticky note for IBIT, and it was one of the number one stocks yesterday for me, and it was just a pretty simple thing. When we were breaking through 100,000, we were watching it here live, and we were just like, let's go. Why didn't that zoom out better there? Okay, for some reason it's not doing it. You know, we had that great move early, and I think it was a 57 break, so that's why I'm saying the first in we had was in and around here. We did not reload it off the 50-period moving average. Then it came into VWAP, and we had this trade as well. So we had this trade right into there, and then it bounced, right? And so right here, it looks like, and again, VWAP is going to be difficult on this because Bitcoin trades 24 hours, and obviously IBIT does not. So you're starting to get going now a little bit. I wrote down on the sticky note that 58.25, which came into play. Man, this zooming is not working out for me very well today. There it is, back last week or Monday, whatever day that was there, the 8th, 58 and a quarter. So I'm looking to go long through that break level. I think you can almost go long right now. That's a good story there with Riot. Obviously, you want Starboard, you want some more potential changes. I mean, they're always going to take it. Maybe they're looking at the board seat. Maybe I don't know what they're doing. We don't really know the story quite yet. But at the end of the day, I like Bitcoin here. 101.3 looks like it wants to hold. How much time do we have left? Okay, not too much time. All right, we'll discuss crypto and all that. I was going to call up a Bitcoin chart, but we are getting ready here to ring the bell at the Trader TV Live with Donald Trump. Yeah. He was going to come here, but he got stuck in New York.
Well, you know what?
So the thing is that His flight got delayed, so he's stuck in New York, so he can't come here. So he's going to do the NYSE instead.
Well, also the Secret Service wasn't. They were
we're not properly.
They were
equipped
complaining
here
about
here.
it.
Yeah,
They didn't like
yeah,
our
yeah.
security,
and they didn't want that comments with Trudeau and all that stuff. Yeah. It was better decided that Donald Trump rings the bell at the NYSE just for security details and things like that. So we'll probably have him on in the new year or not. So back over to the desk with Brendan.
All right, let's touch on both Uber and Lyft here. Going into the open, still positive to the tune of about 3%. If you missed it yesterday, these were both pretty negative on this GM note that GM was going to wind down their work on Cruise entirely, their autonomous driving project, I guess is the best term for it. They were working somewhat in tandem with both of these companies, but here we are. Back to the upside today. I mean, you just threw out a pretty staggering number there on, what was that, the month?
Yeah, it literally 3 months to the day.
Oh,
2 months, excuse me, to the day. Middle of October, guys. Here it is, Fabian. When we kind of peaked out at that $87 area to where we closed out yesterday at around 61 a fifth. We're down 30% in the span of 2 months here on Uber. Bit of a tough look. Could be a buy. Keep your eye on it. Here's the deal. GM did announce they're winding down their Cruise robo-taxi division and integrating that with other parts of their company. Analysts expressed concern about that specific issue because it puts the Cruise and Uber partnership for autonomous vehicle driving in limbo. And if Uber wants to go at this, they're going to have to go at it alone with their own money, which obviously changes the financial assessment by analysts of the company. So up 3% today, nice little recovery, but down still 30% from October.
Yeah, I mean, even on the move down yesterday, I mean, it's basically just eyeballing it here, about 50% back, from where we were yesterday here this morning. So, yeah, 3% is good, guys, but a long way to go.
Okay, so we will talk about that just real quickly. I wanted to see if there was a Titan. All right, so I'm just trying to see here. NVIDIA comes out as a sell, so there's a big red candle. So at 925, you'll get the NASDAQ imbalances every day. So right there, NVIDIA with a nice move down. We're looking for 140, but whoa, there it is. Almost $1 to the downside right now for Uber. Hive, so again, another sort of, we just talked about what was going on with Riot there, Hive blockchain. There's Riot. Riot comes with a sell, so a little interesting there as well, but there's Uber with a buy. So, all right, not much going on right now on the imbalances, relatively mixed, and I don't see a Titan, so TTAN. So we'll wait. I don't think it's ready. I don't think it's ready, which is kind of strange for that. All right, so just real quickly. I bought more Uber yesterday. We talked about that. We did it during lunchtime. We came in and we told you that we did it. And the reason why we did that was just because it got to a point where we hadn't bought anything all the way down into here. We had bought some 80s the first time it came in. And then we bought some 72s right here when it came into the 200 period because we're trying to stay true to what we think. I think Uber right now, unlike Coke, a knockout, I think this is a layup for down here. Down this much, Uber's going to put up big numbers. Their business is completely fine. Are they in threat right now, possibly with Waymo? Yes. I mean, is there going to be Uber, the taxi service there from Elon? Yes. I mean, there is more competition coming. Fine. I understand that. There was also more electric car competition coming. And what did Tesla do to that one? A big middle finger. Let's just wait to see what winds up happening in the space. I don't necessarily agree with the move 30% down, but I don't have to. The market is what it is. It was a huge move. And I just think you don't get too many stocks that I think are I don't know. I mean, is it a thing of the future? I mean, we like this. Uber will figure out automated driving as well. They were wrapped up a little bit in that cruise with GM, so I could see that there was something about that yesterday. But maybe there's a capitulated bottom there. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it. We haven't had that whoosh out yet, so I don't know. That's a pretty good gap down. We'll see if it can hold today. I'm not buying any more of this name. I'm going to sit in what we have right now of Uber and see if it can work. I'll find out my average price. I think it's around 67. So we're still out of the money here pretty good on Uber. It might even be a little bit higher than that. So yeah, falling knife there for Uber, and I tried to catch it. We'll see if it works.
Well, I'm looking at that August low. Everyone was panicking. Obviously, that August bottom was a panic level. And I think if you see something in around, the wicks were here, but the big volume was at the 60 level. So I think that's going to be a big one to watch. It's diddling in the middle for me right now. So the 60 support's already down there. it's closer to that 65 resistance. Like the zone of the prior bottom to 2 days in a row top at 65 would lend me to play, hey, if it pop and fades, 65 would be the play. If we get to 60, that's a different story. I like those August lows for trades on just about any big name that gets to them, because that's where all of that panic buying came in. If you don't like it there, like if you don't like a stock at those August lows, well, the market told you where the buyers were on a day like that. We didn't really go over, I guess we didn't go over Tesla in the rundown. We talked about it earlier, but Tesla bounces, and if you can't figure out where it bounced off, 420. Double bottomed already at 420 after the number. First place to look is going to be this $420 level on the way back in here. And if it loses that, I mean, 410 was a biggie. I do also want to mention, with only 30 seconds to go,
oh my God,
Alphabet just bounced $2 off of its low at 193. So this one,
is that 195?
I kind of thought that was like you had 191 in here for a support level, and maybe it'll break 200 today. So continuation play on Alphabet. As we're going over to the bell, we got Joe ringing the bell, brought to you by Worksport. So shout out to them at Worksport to your watch list today. So let's get this one going. It's Thursday. We had PPI. We got more highs in 3,
knock that bell out.
2, and 1. Get it.
Let's go. Let's go. All right, so we upgraded from Trump to Joe, so that was great. I'm glad that worked out there for us all today. U.S. markets are now open as well. Sit here and watch some of these names. IBIT not doing too much. We did want to look at Tesla. IBIT's not worth watching because we can watch crypto, so as that goes, we'll wait for it. IBIT waiting for a 58 break. We'll try to go long above that. It's on the sticky note, or a dip buy into 57.25, which is VWAP right now. Okay, here comes Tesla. So the market's coming back in. Tesla held 420. You know, fits like a glove, put it on, right? I mean, there it is, 420 right there, holding for Tesla. So a good little name there. We'll check out what Google's doing. As Neil mentioned, it did make that run up to 95.
Hey, here comes NVIDIA.
Which was the 200 period moving average. Which way is NVIDIA coming?
Sorry, AMD.
Which way?
Sorry, I meant, no, up.
Up, okay. And NVIDIA's not going up.
AMD is.
Yeah, I noticed that AMD
was
strong relative to NVIDIA today. So this might be the short if it can get to that 132, the trade that fills first.
Yeah, so Tesla, look at Tesla starting to come back a little bit here.
Chilling.
Like it just chilled out. Oh, it goes down at 23, and now you're already back at 25. Like as quickly as I'm about to try to bring it to you, you already have it heading back up. So you're getting that crazy 930 whipsaw action that we want to be a little bit patient with. Oh, I don't want to have to chase this move. Is it really going to just break 430? I'm not taking a breakout trade early on this thing.
Oh my God.
But AMD's close to that 132. It just tagged 130.70.
Dude, I think we have
Google's going Alphabet's going the other way. So that's starting to head down. It really is Tesla on strength at this moment. Like Tesla holding 425. If we don't get 420, what are you going to do? 430 is right there,
going long.
right around the corner. So I always want that dip buy, but if it doesn't get to your price, you end up reluctantly doing the one thing that you can. So NVIDIA weak, AMD doing nothing right now. I think that's a bit of a disappointment. Tesla, it's only $4 away, so it can happen in an instant. We've seen these move quickly into these breakout levels.
Yeah, I just, I was looking at SMCI, but we've got to pay for shorts. I was looking at that 428 break. I'm going to take it. If it comes through. But as Neil mentioned there, it's still got to get there. So we're going to give that a second. You never know, though, with this stock, what's going to happen. I feel like it could.
AMD's now dumping.
Yeah, see, so there's a lot of things happening right now. All right, so I like that. I did like that SMCI short. I think you might have missed it because AMD did reverse down and we did have, so we were up there. Well, I missed it or not, I don't know. It just goes up to the 200 period and VWAP, which is why it sort of triggered for me. We'll see if we can get that back in. But look at the market coming in pretty good right now. For the NASDAQ, I wrote down on the TQQs here, and we had a great spider trade worth $1 at the end of the day. I know $1's not that much, but we had in like the last 10 minutes there, so it was a pretty good trade. TQ's making its move downside as well. I was looking at the NASDAQ, maybe this 87 or so level coming into play, so we'll wait for that. It looks like the 200 period right now is at 87.30. Let me just see if that TTAN has anything on it. We are going to go back, so still nothing on that as we go. So for now, nothing's really hitting. I mean, I'm going through this. IBIT, it's not moving. If anything, coming down. Google, NVIDIA, GameStop. On my mind as well. Games at 28, so that's not there either. So yeah, right now I'm not in anything.
It's about patience today. I can tell you that much because You know, you could be whipsawed. The only trade that maybe could have been in was I think AMD's about it.
NVIDIA's puking though.
Like AMD gave you a pop. It didn't pop to 132, but it popped into yesterday's high. I did try to get it. We ended up not getting filled there at 130.40, and now you're bouncing pre-market lows. So probably has to retest this high up here. I think I missed a chance at a scalp trade already once. I think we.
Holy shit!
Whoa!
Palantir's.
I was about to say the same thing. Palantir's through 74 and absolutely flying. But the other name that I was going to mention is, remember Riot had the Starboard news. It's now holding that 13. We wanted to see it calm down at the open, and it's starting to hold VWAP in the 13 area. So this might be one on Starboard news, on Bitcoin being over 100,000 that has come into play here on Riot. So this one, it's a little bit of an late add to the list, but I think as long as it can hold on the 12.75 here, I'll look for a long maybe continuation there. Palantir is flying. I don't think it's a specific story though.
I don't know. It's just because it's different from the rest. So we'll look. Brendan's on the desk.
Distinctly different.
Sharif's here. We're looking. If there's anything, obviously we'll find it out. But there it is. Right now, a nice move up there for Palantir. Yesterday we were caught off guard by it, and we went short, thinking that the short was good in and around here. 72.50 was not at the end of the day. Nice move upside right there. You got to stay away from this, I think, for right now. Going oppo what the market's doing. So I'm gonna wait, hold back. But congratulations one more time there for anybody on this name. All right, so Tesla does the dip down again. We'll see what it wants to do right now. I mean, I think that it wants to go higher, but the market's kind of, there it goes. Now the market's starting to get back into the upside right there. What about seeing that there might have been some garbage down here, 423, maybe as a potential long now for Tesla? We could test that, but I don't know. The market is underneath still. I'd rather get confirmation on this play for TSLA, basically acting with the market right now. NASDAQ down 0.5, Tesla right there. But that is a decent mark right there, trying to take out the 50 period, breaking back down through or back above 423. Could be a trade that we regret not taking, but it's still early days.
Along with Palantir, Microsoft has gone up 1% here.
So that's good.
So this is another one which is super strong. You talk about the Mag 7 names leading the charge. Well, this name hasn't gotten to its highs. And looks like today might be the day. That's a tall ask to get to 470. Tesla, but that 450, you now cleared it on Microsoft. I think anybody looking for a dip, it's at 450 level, which is looking pretty good. Riot does not hold the bid at 13. So it doesn't look like that one is going to hold where I wanted it to. So no entry on that as well. Tesla's still holding forward.
This is not going to be a popular opinion, but I'm gonna probably try the short on Tesla breaking through 420. But again, I wrote down here. Actually, we didn't really write down anything on Tesla today. It's held 420. It's right there. The break. I mean, that's only 419. You know, you could hit it and quit it for $1, but I don't know if that short is the right thing. The market is trying to hold. And I mean, we had that weak PPI, hotter PPI number, but weaker for the market right there. All right, scrap that idea. I'm not going to convince myself of doing that right now. Yeah, I mean, I want to stay with what we're doing. So if the market does come back up, we do have a short offer for NVIDIA in and around VWAP 137.50. If that can come in, that would be great. And you'd mentioned AMD being stronger than the rest. SMCI has, okay, so SMCI is the $40 top. This name, hotter than the rest as well. So I did go over there and pay for shorts, but for right now, I'm not seeing that. There's never been a time before in the history of the show. This is the
first time
that ever. That's 937 and I'm not in something. I mean, this is very, very strange. All right, I might just do this on Tesla. I'm going to do it. A break here. I'm setting it up. I'm only going to cross down a little bit. Break of 420. Let's just try it. Everyone's just so, there it is. All right, we missed it, I guess. Yeah, 419.75. Oh, no, that's too bad. So there's the dollar that we'd thought. I don't know what. I only crossed down 25 cents there. So we tried to punch short. We talked about it. We liked it, but we don't have it, so it doesn't really matter. I'll take a little bit here at 30s, just a small piece, just because we want to be in this. But again, I'm still waiting at 419.75. So there it is. So we get the fill now there. So now we can. I said maybe $1 would be pretty good. So if we can get something like that, that might be okay. But I don't want to get out of this super fast, but I do want to get out of it if it's going to be wrong. So right there, we are short Tesla, and I know a very unpopular opinion. I'm trying not even to look at the chat. So we'll see what happens here on Tesla. I'm going to give it to that 422 area where we had a little bit of problems with it. I feel like that's fine. 422, maybe 423. Let's give it to that 423 area. It's a small position, but we don't want to drop it completely this early. Looks like the market wants to go back up to the upside. So again, just a try here in case it did fall like crazy right now. So there it is. It's Tesla. It's going against us. It's out $1 right now. So let's wait. SMR's up 5%. Oh my God.
HIMS is also making a bit of a move. Just a reminder, I heard it in my ear. We should be telling you, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Most importantly, if you want to throw some symbols in there, make sure you hit the subscribe. Our chat is a subs-only chat.
Yeah.
So I see HIMS moving, and thank you guys, everyone, for saying that. But the easy way to get our attention is through that chat, and of course, sending messages there. You must be a subscriber. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. So we didn't bounce off 13 on Riot, but it did bounce off the 3/4 level, at least temporarily. We'll see if we continue to hold it. So it's not a bull flag. It's a little early to be talking about that kind of thing, but it just held support at that 3/4 mark. So as long as it's going to hold the 3/4 here on Riot, remember this is it was Starboard taking a stake in Riot. Bitcoin's back above 100,000, but HIMS also making a move. That's the other name I wanted to bring to you guys. It just ticked the high of the day, 31.99 for this name as it continues to run, and AMD is now at 132. So we're now at 132 bucks on AMD. This was the zone that we're looking for, so we're here now looking for the curl.
Okay, we're huge again today. I'm so glad that Neil's back. All right, so we're now $2 in the money on the short, $2, $3 in the money on the short. Tesla now cracking lower. We have a bid at 417 right now. So we've already took a 419. We just took a 418. Now we'll take a 417. There it is. Oh boy, it's your first $3 winner right now on the board right there. And as Neil mentioned, we wrote down AMD. What price, everybody? 132. So we're short AMD as well. And we're taking a little bit of money on this, but not a lot. We'll see if we do want to fade out even further than that. But so far, so good on Tesla. I mean, let's not get, we're excited about it, obviously, because we just got a great fill down there at 117. But this name could really retrace. I don't necessarily think that this is the short of all shorts. We had sort of talked about that. There goes IBIT. IBIT to the downside. We do get that. We're in 3 positions right now. We said, how strange is that we're in none? And all of a sudden, add 3 minutes and we're in 3. It looks like we got a good one here on IBIT as well. Came right into that level again that we had posted. So let's just keep on. Okay, IBIT, I see you. I see you, IBIT, right now. Okay. Oh my. What exactly is going on, Joe? Look at this trade on IBIT. And who put down 57.25? There it is right there. We wrote down 57.25. It's 50 cents in the money right there on IBIT. What's going on over on your side there?
One short. We got that AMD. It came to that one.
What?
Almost to 132. 131.75. Actually, the top. I'm short here at 60 as it's trying to pull right back in here. But that being said, there's a couple of movers here. And, okay, so obviously we talked about HIMS. That just broke the $32 and continues to run. The other name that we were on a plan to trade but never got to was Google. Alphabet has now made a hold of the bottom and trying to break out the top here on Alphabet. Whether it breaks 200 or not, I'm only looking continuations, only looking longs on Alphabet. It's charging toward a 196 break. AMD is starting to head back down. I looked up, and NVIDIA is distinctly different. Already down at the lows and trending lower here on NVIDIA. So while this is working on AMD, you got to acknowledge that NVIDIA is a lot weaker today. So might have to weasel our way into this off of VWAP if we can get it. I had to say
have no weasels, but weasels are back.
If we get to VWAP and bounce on AMD and we trend up on AMD, then I don't mind pivoting to NVIDIA, right? Like NVIDIA was part of the plan to short too, and they're very different, the two of them, right now, at least for now.
So we have, other than having Tesla, we sort of broke down Tesla for everybody there. This is IBIT. There it is, 57.25. So that IBIT trade right now, 30 cents in the money. The AMD trade we're getting out of, but there it is right there, 132 short. So the patient's definitely paying off here today, as we are now we're only out of 40% of IBIT, but it did really get going there off that bottom. So again, still could be an L. We're just trying to negotiate here what exactly is happening with our position. So I'm going to take another piece out on IBIT at 52. That's where the 50-period moving average is. So there it is. We'll take another piece out on that one. Tesla still continues to work, and you know, it's now almost, well, it was $3 in the money. It's going lower right now. Let's put another bid out right there at 40s. We'll take that bid, and now we'll just see how low it can go. You know, if we're going to look at Tesla from yesterday, you know, we did have a good trade there early on, but we just want to make the same mistakes here, right? Like, it went down there yesterday and then finally got going. I don't know what the reason for that was. Maybe it was 400 or not, but the volume didn't necessarily pick up down there. It just got going, and that was it. So right now, I mean, I could see if Donald Trump is over there at NYSE, I mean, you know, Tesla's a big Trump stock, obviously, as we've seen it go up, what, 80% or something from election day or whatever it was. But anyways, there's a downside move. Looking at some levels, 415, I think, is where we'll put our next bid. So we'll do that. We'll see if we can get a $5 runner right there for us as well. We're out of half of AMD, but AMD is getting spicy to the upside. I don't know how much you're still in, but I'm getting a little bit, obviously, nervous as it's stronger than the market.
It's stronger than the market. It's stronger than NVIDIA. It just wicked the 132 level there. So if it's going to be able to hold, it has to start doing it right now. Okay, like we just wicked the level. I just tried to grab some 90s on the way back, and then just got them. So we're back in. We're just showing you guys the resistance that's been at the 132 level, but it just wicked it, came back underneath. If it breaks another local high, I think we got to jump out of it. As said, there is something distinctly different between this and NVIDIA. So can I easily acknowledge maybe this AMD is not the one and NVIDIA is the one, because AMD just made another run at that high of the day. So I'm jumping out. I mean, it worked the first time through. The second time, it's still showing some strength. I need to see it make a curl or a trend reversal on AMD. Flapped the L on it, didn't have to get back in, but I did. Is what it is. And NVIDIA is under VWAP and still looking relatively weak. Not really much going on with Google, but while the market is weak, Google is holding on to its strength. So it hasn't broken out this top at 196 yet, but this is the name I wanted long for some continuations. If we get a break at 96, it's one of the only names that I really like for some strength here is going to be Google. But I think NVIDIA is clearly the chip name that looks the weaker of the two between it and NVIDIA. Easy to tell. Brendo?
A two-day runner here, a little low float name, guys. We were talking with Steve Gomez this morning in the pre-market about some of these. AMPG starting to get going again. Ton of volume behind this move right now. Again, 2 days in a row, there was an offering, 2.2 million registered direct offering for, what is this, Amplitech Group. It's a 7 million float total for AMPG.
Stock is being amplified, it seems like, right there. We just got out some more IBIT right there at 57.80. So I'm starting to just, you know, it's 9:46. You know, we'll see what winds up happening here. But there we go. Now out of more and more IBIT, we're now out of 60% of this trade. For IBIT. I mean, really, just we could talk about the same names or different ones. I mean, I'm right now, I'm in Tesla, and it's $2. It's starting to go back into the lows one more time. I want to thank everybody for watching. Over 9,000 of you are seeing this trade right now. 417 coming into play right now. I'm bidding, just bounced again. All right, let's take something out then a little bit here in and around that 417.50 area. I'm a little bit lower. Thought it was going to break. There it is. Okay. So we take another out at the bottom of the day. We said we'll hold for 15. So let's just wait for that. As Tesla right now, decent size, decent trade there for Tesla. We did get in and out of AMD. It just fell back into 132 again. We got some more shares, but there it is. Now taking out that high. So we'll have an L on the board there with AMD so far there today. We'll wait for it though. I think we're right by maybe staying away. The other trade that I had was NVIDIA up to that 140 marker. That's not coming in yet, so I'm going to wait for that. We were going to take VWAP, but now that I see how strong its brethren is there, then I'm going to stay away. All right, so the other one name that yesterday made 52-week highs and has been just an absolute monster is Amazon, and it's pulling back in as well. I'm pretty confident, man, just sitting in here. We still have half of our Tesla trade. And it's $3 now. So hopefully, well, it's $2.50. Hopefully, if we break that 417, we can get into that 415 area. That might be a spot where we decide to eventually get out. Shaking my head, of course. at SMR, huge move up, and then the rate fall back into the 200 period. This could also be another area to pick up the dip buys now in SMR as it's falling back in as well. So a couple opportunities there if you like the long in SMR, and possibly on AMD as it's trying to hold now above 132.
Yeah, the fact that it's holding this long above 32 it's still interesting to me. Like, Google's probably the next potential, although it's starting to show some weakness. Never mind. Google was looking like a clear breakout candidate. Now you're headed back into the lows. Okay, that's going to just take me right over to NVIDIA. Look, AMD holding that 132, NVIDIA curling, hit enter twice. It's right at VWAP. This is like the put up or shut up. If we pop VWAP and immediately reject it with a topping tail candle, I'm going to look for that for the entry, acknowledging that it's distinctly different from AMD. But the level we liked on AMD is putting a regression on as well in the same moment. So both these could happen at the same time. This is the front end of the trade on the way up. But if you like a level for resistance, sometimes at that opening range, it just has to challenge it. So it's in the moment where it's challenging this top. If we get a curl back under and we fail the 132, then I don't mind taking another shot at this one. Let's just try to be patient with it. Palantir couldn't hold VWAP on the way back in. So I was looking at this to see if it would hold VWAP for a trend continuation play. It's now underneath 74, headed for 73. Just there's no bounce here in Palantir. Looking like it's, maybe not even Palantir's day. If this goes red, I mean, that 71 level is pretty much all you've got going for you. It's been a good one before. So I think that's worth watching. But back to the chip names, I feel like it has to be, as NVIDIA just did that little wick and fail at VWAP. So it's adjacent to 137, but VWAP's actually 137 and a quarter.
Yeah, I'm going to take I'm going to go back into AMD and just take it.
It's under 132 again.
I know, so that's the rub, right? And I mean, that's what I was thinking about anyway, similar to you, is that maybe we just sort of got topped out there. So all this thing has to do is go down, I think, to not even 130, 150, maybe even here, 130, 170, and we'll be up on AMD. So hopefully that can come in right now. I'm going to put a bid there for 5%, 10%, and then put something a little bit lower for a few more shares, about 20% at that 3150 mark, right into there. See if we can get a bid back down in for AMD. We want to be short this name, so we'll do it and hold out for it. The funny thing about all of this is, though, we did have a move up, in Tesla. Tesla actually broke that 420 area again right there, but then it snapped right back in. So a pretty interesting thing there for me to see that. I was waiting up here to get a little more short at the 200 period, at the 50 period, and at VWAP, but that did not come in. So let's see, man. This is very, very interesting. Could completely go the other way right now on Tesla. So let's wait to see a failed break top in there, in and around 420. Has to leave. I feel like, I don't want to say that the shorts are in control right there, but it had an opportunity to go back through that 420 and stopped. But at the same time, it's also not falling right now either. So because we still have half left, I'm going to put out another piece here.
What's going on SMCI?
SMCI, is it ripping? Because I was going to go short that name.
40.
Right, and then it was relatively strong. So why don't we go over? Anyways, there it is. So we do get that fill there on, I almost said Bitcoin, on Tesla. And we'll wait to see what happens now. But yeah, SMCI up 4% right there, trying to go.
This is why the chat's undefeated with this one. We were about to break $40 on SMCI at 3 points. Yeah, there's a lot of strength coming in. What's crazy is a lot of strength coming back into the market. So that VWAP on NVIDIA just broke. So we just broke VWAP on NVIDIA. I mean, I like that trade. It's not 140, but that's the only other place that I would play it, is down at the 140 level. But all of a sudden, the strength is in SMCI, and this could be breaking out the top. Remember, 40 is a huge level.
You got to give me those
40 support, 40 resistance. If it doesn't get through 40, I'm expecting that you get a hefty pullback over here in SMCI. So you're definitely seeing some strength come into that one. I mean, I still have my eyeballs on Tesla. That 420 level, it's consolidating underneath 420. My first look was long on this name, and obviously it's gone underneath. So, yeah, I'm trying to give it the opening range till 10 o'clock to see if it's decided it's going to be under 420 today, and then we'll be patient with it. But, yeah, Tesla looking like it's holding right underneath that level. SMCI is an absolute rocket ship. Let's see if this does pull. It is starting to pull back into VWAP. No 40 break there. For SMCI. Google's still doing absolutely nothing, but as the market, every time the market challenges the lows, Alphabet just chills out in the middle. So I still think this is looking strong enough to make a run at the 196 top that yesterday.
Was Tesla?
That high yesterday.
Oh my God.
Yesterday's high. That's right.
I just got another piece out at 419. Oh, so first of all, AMD, let's freaking go. Positive now on advanced micro devices. So finally, yes, sir. There it goes, man. So pay dirt right there. We don't have any red stocks today. IBIT, what a monster Bitcoin continues to be, man. Top to bottom. We wrote down 57.25. We actually sat there and took that trade, and we just got double outs up there at 57.9, 57.85s. So a couple, I think one was a 90, one was an 85. So a good little level there for IBIT. And again, like, you know, from turning this stock that wasn't, I'm going to get another piece out at 19 if we can. From turning this stock into what was a good little short there, we had captured some more outs. I was going to, you know what, let me just wait and be specific then about what we're going to wait for. I was waiting for that 421.80 or so area, which is the 50-period moving average. So if we do go for one more run to the upside, that's an area that I'd like to average it back in. And then we're going to use that 423 as our out. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. But oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, do we have another Dollar Club winner right now for everybody. That is AMD. Again, falling completely off of the level that we wrote down, 132. We got like wiped around on that level, right? As Obi was talking about that yesterday. You know, you got to sort of clean up some of these levels. And it looks like right there, we did a great job by getting back in. I know you're in NVIDIA as well. So nice. I'm sure that maybe that's even more than $1. Right now, AMD, nice little downside push as it was stronger than the rest, which is why I'm saying that about NVIDIA. So far, so good there for AMD. Huge move. I'm actually going to be almost up just as much on AMD as I am right now on Tesla. So yeah, it looks like we did this one pretty good.
Great look over there, and it's not looking good for Adobe. But there's one setup. Look, it's the setup that we want is going to be a mean reversion on Adobe. It's almost at $480. It's every $5 on this thing, and it's now settled in a trend. So trend down. If it breaks this trend line, I'm looking for a mean revert on Adobe. It's that simple. It's 12%. It's continuing to bleed here. I mean, the market, by the way, everyone, the market is literally, like, it's just inside of the range here. Like, it's down, but we're inside range. We haven't broken lows, and of course, if you break the lows, that can change looking for some longs. Like, I might not like Google as much if we do get a breakdown on the overall market. The SSR play for Adobe doesn't really necessarily matter what's going on with the market as far as I'm concerned. So I'm just going to play it by ear with any of those long trades. Tesla's still trying to pick a direction, although you're seeing it reject that 420. We have 5 minutes until 10 o'clock, and then we'll see if it's going to end up over under this level as far as I'm concerned. You know, Tesla's still kind of in the pocket, and I don't want to rush to judgment. So we'll see what happens with Tesla. Obviously, Google, I still like for a long. It's trying to hold a higher low, and then it can take the breakout of the top. It's looking pretty strong, as was Microsoft. You know, so I liked Google. Microsoft is the one at VWAP. Sometimes that's just how it is. Microsoft's green, the market is red. Alphabet, I still like the long, but it's holding in red. If Google doesn't give the breakout trade, then you got to acknowledge that Microsoft might be the one that actually wants to get to its all-time high today, or at least challenge another level up to the 457. So NVIDIA is at 37. Whoops, that daily chart's not going to help. It's still at 37. It's holding underneath. There's room to yesterday's, sorry, not yesterday's. I wasn't here yesterday. 2 days ago when I was here, there's room down to this 135 close price. But if the market doesn't move, we have to be patient here at VWAP in the 137 level for NVIDIA. I haven't given up that there might be some longs, but we're starting to run out of time that any of them are going to look any good. Google doing nothing. It's like a complete
NVIDIA's
sleeper.
not moving.
It's not moving.
Oh, I thought it was tanking. That's why I was saying that.
It's chilling out at VWAP at 137. It's just back and forth. And I'm staring. Google's not doing anything.
Man.
Okay, Tesla.
Tesla's now ripping.
I was waiting for 10 o'clock on Tesla, and Tesla might be going now, though. I don't know. I still like Tesla if it can hold 420 at 10 o'clock.
I mean, I honestly, this AMD, I had thought that AMD was the stronger name, but that 132, bang, what a trade right there off of that level. I'm going to take a little bit here at 421. We just missed it. I just tried. We could take a piece. Well, I missed it again. We could take a little bit of a piece here. The 50 period has come down. I actually wasn't noticing that. It was too like, wow, this is now $1.60 now. AMD is really coming in, bouncing right now now off. I'm going to take a piece out here. I'm just going to cross up and get out as we are bouncing a little bit there off. Whoopsies, snooze on that one. As we are bouncing a little bit now off of the 200 period moving average. So yeah, watch out now here coming through. So get ready to rock and roll on AMD if it hits that bottom right now. Like you said, 2 minutes now until 10 o'clock.
Yeah, we're starting to get into that time. And just for a couple other things, I know you guys have been mentioning a few names. Palantir is now holding underneath VWAP, but above its breakout. So it's starting to look decent again. You get that higher low, you get another one. I think you can make a rerun at the 75. Just trying to go through some of the stronger names in there. But like AMD's tanking to 130. And once again, NVIDIA is 1 cent in the money. Like, it's just not moving.
It's so crazy. AMD is $1.08.
It's a weird one, but it's what's happening.
Yeah.
And then Intel, I did miss my fill on Intel. I'm sitting there at 44. It went to 42. So Intel got to 20 and a half-ish without actually giving the fill. So I do like the short up here on Intel. We just didn't grab it. So it's a bit of a miss by myself. You got into that high. I thought we'd press just a little bit higher on strength. I left my order in there on the off chance that we would actually get the fill. But I'll look for a continuation play. Potentially over there on Intel. So we're coming in at 10 o'clock. I mean, Tesla's still doing the same thing as before. It's under VWAP, but it's over 420. And look at the dance. It's basically just wicking people in and out at 420 on Tesla here. So I'm looking for it to close direction and then make a breakaway. NVIDIA's starting to go. I don't want to add unless I add on weakness underneath VWAP. We're about to close underneath at 10 o'clock, which also means happening now.
Mm-hmm.
Market trying to bounce here a little bit, guys. If you were busy pre-market, we were touching on the simple fact that, yeah, NASDAQ closed at a record yesterday above 20,000 for the first time ever. We also had a whole bunch of economic prints that came through at 8:30 this morning. Back to the inflation side of things, back to the higher side of things. Unfortunately, 0.4% for PPI. For November on the month-over-month print, it was 0.3 that was expected, so very slightly to the upside. Initial jobless claims as well also came in very slightly to the upside. 242,230 was the expectations. That's pretty much it as far as data today. We do get energy coming up here at 10:30 on the natural gas side of things. So heads up for that. It has been a bit of a mover over the past few days. There's that AMPG I was just mentioning. Now 50% to the upside. Watch it for $3, that aftermarket level from yesterday for that one. Again, 7 million on the float if you missed it. Apple was trying to bounce there back to 246.50. Looks like it's failing. We also were talking about this in the pre-market if you joined us. TTAN, no indication yet on that IPO, but coming at some point to the NASDAQ today, guys.
Yeah, TTAN right there. Let's fire off the hot dog cannon right there. Look at that reload on Tesla. I mean, I'm not, it's only $1. Like, we're just scalping this thing, but it's like, okay, we just got that VWAP trade that we wanted. So, yeah, good move right there on Tesla back in. We're starting to average some out right now as we're another $1.50. And as Neil said, man, it's just wicking people in and out. But if you're standing at the right levels, you should be able to be some kind of profitable right now on Tesla. So there it is right there. We have $4. We have right now $5 plus in the money. We have over $2 right now on Tesla. We have $2 on, well, look at AMD, man. Advanced Money Destroyer is not destroying any money of ours today. It's actually piling it up for us as there it goes. $2 in the money on AMD. And look at our king right here. What's up, king? IBIT right now just continues to go higher and higher. We'll get some more out at 91 there. Oh my God. Neil, what a face slapping kind of a day it is here today. AMD, we just picked it. And the thing is like all we're doing is trading names that we've talked about, right? And so I think that that's really important. We spend a lot of time here on Tesla. We spent a lot of time, obviously, on AMD. And yeah, they're going to be huge. IBIT is actually pretty much, all three are really similar in profit-wise. This fell right in. We got a great little long there. AMD, I mean, I hope you guys are trading with me today for sure. We switched it up, man. We've been so much more patient today, waiting for certain things to happen. We didn't average into AMD. It came up. We got out. We got back in. That was a good play for us. And then here goes Tesla again. We're just averaging this in, like we had said, back and forth to the point where right now, even though it's making these moves, we're still $1 in the money. So if this cracks lower, good for us. But I'm just got another piece out right here. I'm going to actually get another piece out right now at 63. There it is. We'll just put a bid and offer it out. So right here, we now have about a third left of our shares. And the risk on this is $1. We're getting out if it breaks 423. So that's why right now it's more than or roughly 1-to-1 right now on our reload. We've already cashed out of this trade. So I'm just trying to break it down for everybody so that we're all on the same page. But AMD right now, wow, I'm going to take another piece right here. Unbelievable move right into the low of the day. I hope that NVIDIA can catch up to it because
it just went the first $0.50 now. It's it's like everything else. It's not really moving. I mean, Google's not moving. NVIDIA's not moving. It's down 50 cents in the time AMD dropped 250. It could go. Like, don't get me wrong. Excuse me. It could test that. It could test that low of the day very quickly here at 136. And if it does, we'll be there for it. What I'm hunting now. Sorry, guys. Patiently is this reversion on Adobe. Adobe's at 480. This is a trend down. I'm looking for the close holding the 480 level. A mean reversion. Play to VWAP. If it gets to VWAP, great. The first $5 is all game for a scalp trade. So that's what I'm looking for here in Adobe. It's down 12% and absolutely tanking. Google is now moving. So we've gone over that. Google is now moving for that breakout. Look at it hold the line. I mean, this is 195.20 4 times in a row. We break this. I like Google long. I got to throw to you. Sorry, again.
Yeah. No. Do whenever you have a chance. All right, so AMD is retracing a little bit. We just got a piece out at 50 there, so we are getting lighter and lighter on this one. And by the way, guys, here it comes, man. This is why there's money for everybody. Tesla short, Tesla long. If you bought those dips, great. If you shorted it with us or with me, great. And so far, so good. But we will give back, right? I mean, it's Christmas season. No, we're not trying to give back for that reason. But right now, if it does come, there it is. So I was just going to say it might come back in right there, and then it just bumped up 50 cents. So completely fine with it. We will end the trade there. It's a successful one, so we'll props it up to both sides of this trade. I knew when we went short, it wasn't going to be popular. But that's the trade, the short anyways. But that's the trade that we did. All right, so right now, IBIT back to 58. We had sort of talked about this as a level again, but remember, this has nothing. It's nice when it's a level intraday because that means that crypto fell off that level as well. So right now, if we're going to look at Bitcoin, we can just see what's going on right now with BTC. So here's the Bitcoin chart itself. It is obviously starting to go up to the upside right now. This is a 15-minute chart. If we drop this down into a 1 minute, we'll probably get a little bit of a better look. So that's 101.7 right there. You see we've had these tops before. So that would be that 58, I'm guessing now, in IBIT. So right there, there's that top from yesterday afternoon. Actually, that's midnight there. It's that top right there that we had. Then we made another one at 102, then the fall. So we've touched 102 twice right there in the last 24 hours. So we are getting up to that level again. So I feel like on IBIT, we've done really well on it. So maybe now, and we just got out. So I'm going to get out another piece here on IBIT. Again, like the stock, obviously we like trading crypto there, but there's another out at 90. So based on the shares, we have exactly 12% left of IBIT right now. So hopefully we can get up to get some more upside on that one. And there goes Tesla, by the way, right? Like, boom. So all good. Right now. We'll wait for it to settle down. I almost think a 428 break long is the thing. There's AMD right now as well. I want to thank everybody for watching. Please come in through, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Yesterday we had Obi here. Today we have Neil. So let's go, man. Everyone's excited for the trading today. It's a big day.
SoFi, baby.
SoFi, what is that doing right now? Up 2%?
It's up a couple points. It's holding VWAP. Shout out to you, JCB Sports Cards. SoFi is looking good. I like it. We're in it long term, although I did recently sell some. I think I mentioned that the other day, but is what it is. It's holding VWAP. I like that. The market's still not doing anything. Adobe just came in. It closed above the trend line, which was here. So you can see it closed above the trend line. I entered. I got some stink bids. I was trying to add at the same price when we got that higher low and see if we can get some 81s. If it makes a fresh low, we're out of the trade. Pretty simple, but I'm looking for that pullback. If it gets to VWAP, great. If it gets to 485, that will be the first out. So into SoFi, although I will say, well, that happened. That was pretty much to a T the exact moment Tesla decided to do this at 420. So Adobe made its bounce and curl breaking trend at the same moment that you got this wick underneath 420. This was the confirmation of holding that level. Now you're just running. And all of a sudden, we're looking at a 430 breakout. So we're in Adobe. NVIDIA's back to the $0.50 where it couldn't get past before. They'll take another leg out there. But if we're trying to get Tesla now that it's holding 420, there's VWAP, there's in front of 420, and then there's a break, which I'm very reluctant to take at that top. We said we didn't necessarily love breakouts today, but they are what they are, and you got to take what's available to you. So I'm trying to get the dip buy into 422. Adobe, we're trying to add to the long. And there's a couple of names that are moving, like obviously in the small cap space, but I'm staying focused. Right now, Adobe, NVIDIA, Tesla, and Google could break out, although, I mean, this is what Google's doing. I've got the breakout trade for this local top on Alphabet. It's just not doing anything. If it breaks that top, we're going long. If it breaks 96, I think that's a good place to add. Flat right now as the market goes only sideways.
All right, we have a new position right now. And despite us having that big day yesterday when we had that huge trade, we had a big one on Tesla, we had a couple other ones. We're actually doing better P&L-wise today than yesterday. And I think that's just better share sizing and just being able to get out of the way when stocks didn't go our way. But we were really lucky that straight off the jump, we had IBIT straight off the jump. I mean, we didn't have Tesla straight off. And we're pretty lucky. And again, just to have picked it, like we said there, NVIDIA won't be the same as AMD today. As AMD rate, I mean, hopefully it does continue to the downside, but this is going to be my number one stock right there is AMD, despite taking 3 shots at it, and eventually the downside there printed out. So that's what I'm most proud of, is not just that it came back in, it's just that we got out when it broke. We had sort of assessed it. The market wasn't breaking. We knew there it is again. We knew we wanted to get short, so we'll just do that and stay in this name. Very, very strong play there for me. All right, and the next one there is going to be SMCI. Look, this one's going to be a little more questionable. That is for sure. SMCI just dropped back into where I thought was going to be some kind of support. Now we did have a downside move. I think the real support is going to be like 37.80, but I'm actually going to get out if this breaks 38. I'm actually debating this rate. You know what? I might just get out if it breaks that half spot right there in SMCI. So, and that was the low of the day, not even the half. What am I talking about? That's 38. I was going to say 25s. All right, yeah, 38.20 right there. So apparently TTAN, I just hear it right now, is quoting now. So I'm going to put in this stop right here, 38, like 17s, just a little bit below that 20. We'll take a shot at this right now. So this is what it looks like. So there's the quote now for Titan. So no tap yet. This is what it looks like. We can go over. They're now accepting orders, I guess, because this is open. I don't really see anybody putting orders in here right now. And we can sort this by market time. Is probably going to be our best idea right there. There it is. So yeah, wow. All right, not much interest right now. 38,000.
It's early.
I mean, how many shares am I? I'm part of that.
It's
so
early.
Right now it's like, okay, we're going to have to wait on TTAN. Not super exciting, that is for sure. SMCI newest position.
Yeah, the newest position for me is Intel's back up, challenging that 50 level. Did you want locates on that?
Yeah, you can get them to me.
Yeah, so one of the things, just for whether I'm shorting TTAN or not, I will always get locates on a stock. On an IPO if I intend on trading it. 100%, 10 times out of 10. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's like 7 cents. It's a little pricier, 7 cents a share. I think that's because the float is so small. Intel just broke 2050 on Intel. Okay, so once again, the weirdness continues. NVIDIA finally works its way toward the bottom, the 80 pennies in the money, and Intel decides to take out the top. So we're in bizarro world where Intel is strong, up 2 points. And if it's holding 2050,
Tesla failed.
I always said, like, it's a short till it's not. And to me, if it's holding above 2050, then it's not. It's still at the level that I would give it another chance to do a bit of a mean reversion. But at this point, you're starting to come right back in. And you just said Tesla failed. It's at VWAP?
Yep.
All right. So
well, I don't know if it's at VWAP, but...
yeah, it's at VWAP right now.
Yeah.
Tesla's trying to hold on to VWAP. You're still not doing anything in NVIDIA. I don't expect that IPO to open anytime soon. Just because they're quoting, it probably doesn't open until minimum 11 o'clock. That's usually on the early side of things. So Tesla, can it hold that high or low off of VWAP will be the concern. Adobe, we're in that reversion trade. It didn't really, like Adobe went, how far is that? Like $1 in the money. It's a $400 stock. My offer's at 85. we're long at 82.5 and then looking for the VWAP retracement here on Adobe. But if it makes a fresh low, like we got the price area where it's curled, but it hasn't done a very big move into the upside. So you're looking for $5 to $10 on this play, not necessarily 1 or 2 if we're risking a couple of bucks there on Adobe to said low of the day. All right, so Tesla going to be in play here off of VWAP, but it's losing it. Just when you think Tesla's going to show you enough strength, the market's tanking, and we cannot seem to hold a bid on Tesla. NVIDIA is now cracking 136. If the shorts are back on, trying to be patient with Intel for another reload there. Intel could just do what AMD did, which is look strong for a while and then eventually break this trend. It's a clean trend to the upside. If Intel breaks it, that's when I'm looking for the reversion, not trying to catch it on the way up like we did the first time.
Yeah, we took another out here at 30s for AMD. I mean, this is now $3 in the money. We've taken a lot out of this market here today, but the thing is like, okay, so I meant to talk about Tesla there, but I just saw AMD was for 250 actually in the money, sorry. Yeah, so when this was happening, I was thinking long, right? I mean, we thought that Tesla was coming back in. I wasn't thinking long as in I thought the stock was going to be long. I thought that maybe if we broke this 428, that we could talk about some longs. That didn't happen. So right now, I feel like we just got to sort of try to regroup as much as we possibly can here. And as Neil said, we are at VWAP. If you like the long, I think this is a good spot right now for Tesla, but I don't like the long. And what I mean by that is I'm not trying to fight this. The market right here, the NASDAQ is down. I wanted to look at TQQs quickly because this was going to be, all right, so 87.50. So we had looked down here. Wow, what did we just miss on that? That is crazy. We're at 87.25. That didn't happen? No, that's 87.28. Did it go down there? Oh my God. So we just missed this by 3 cents. Or 2 cents down there. So, whoa, man, oh, darn, that's too bad. So we were, okay, well, you know what, whatever, happy with it. Sad that we missed that by 2 pennies, but at the same time, at least the level's there. We'll wait to see if it comes in, but that's going to be an area of concern for me right there, 87.25. We just bounced off of that. It's exactly what we wrote here on the TQs, right at the top there. So we'll have to wait to see. We're bidding now 87.25. We actually wrote down 87 flat as a support area. It doesn't look like SMCI wants to hold, so we're going to get ready to possibly get out of this one. I'm going to try to average it in just a little bit here at low 30s, and then use that as our out. So we'll play it as it's bouncing around, but it's kind of like meh right now for SMCI. It's not, there it is. Now we have our full position, and we'll just wait. We're going to only give this one. We're long now at 39s, so this is a 25-cent hit if it does come out. So that's what we're doing right now with SMCI. Worth hanging out here for a minute in case the market blasts back up. That's sort of my thinking here on SMCI.
Yeah, the market is actually now, it might be consolidating underneath that prior low. So the opening range bottom on the NASDAQ, we just held underneath it on the wick on volume, but now you're holding underneath that low on the NASDAQ. That doesn't bode well necessarily for these longs in here. We're in one reversion, but it's a long reversion. And Intel, after getting on trend, now we're looking to see if we can get the other side of that trade, which would be the curl here. Once we close underneath this trend line pretty much the entire day under 2050, looking for that short. If the market wants to be red, I want to play the revert to the downside. Adobe is still, Adobe is holding the low after our entry, but it still hasn't really popped. So it's just going sideways now. So Adobe's holding the bottom, only going sideways. I think we're going to keep with our target here. Adobe's the kind of name, because it's already down 12%, that it doesn't necessarily have to follow the market. They're going down because of their guide, and if relief buying is going to come in, I think it can do that without the market on a name like this. So SSR is kind of a gimmicky type of trade there, but I still think that next trade is going to be this reversion on Intel. Just being patient with the entry. Jay Mott in the chat, Neil Roberts, Kramer said he prefers AMD over Intel. That's why it's running.
Well, AMD is going down.
Oh no, he means that's why Intel's running. Inverse Kramer. I think he's making a joke about inverse Kramer. Look, sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I want to hear the context of that. You could just like one stock over another in a moment. Like this really bad stock. I don't know. Who knows? But at the end of the day,
SMCI.
At the end of the day, like the inverse Kramer thing, I know people have fun with it, but Sometimes things get taken out of context. I just want to short Intel because if the market goes down, this is a resistance spot.
We forget about Kramer, Katina Capital right here. Yeah, good, funny call there. SMCI, nice move up. So there it is, man. Now 50 cents in the money now? Like, what exactly are we doing over here? Like, NVIDIA, we're just talking about that not really moving. AMD not really moving. We go over to SMCI, a $38 stock, and we're able to do this to it. So let's wait to see now. I don't know about SMCI. That was a good little bottom take right there. We are out of exactly half now, as we're 30 cents in the money, and our hit was going to be 20 cents, 25 cents. So well worth it right now. I mean, it's not, so I'm saying it's worth celebrating because it's a 1-to-1 trade, but we do think there is some higher upside there. We just took another piece out there at 60. Let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit for you right there. We don't have a red mark today, so so far so good on that. Yeah, there it is right there. So there's our last out right there at 60s. We can get it again right now if we so choose, but that's SMCI right there. Let's see if it does have some more upside to it. Yeah, so IBIT right now, look at that fall. We did not average back in. We said we had 12% left, so that is what we have left. So 57.50 right there. Go SMCI, wow. Let's see if we get something out now right here. I'll get out of some at 49s if we can. There it is. So a nice little out there at 49. Now we have 4% left. We took it out. I'm not worth it. We have bigger focuses right now, including this name. There goes SMCI. See if we can get something in the 70s, but a good little trade there for us. We just put it on. So, I mean, so be it. That's okay. There it is. SMCI, now 80 cents. Sorry, 38 cents. $1.80 on AMD, but again, light. We're emptying out our whole clip. We are at the highest spot we've been at all day right now, P&L wise, and part of that is because of SMCI, and there it goes. Great little bottom pick again for this name. Yeah, so be it. You know, I don't know if I like the name, but we had mentioned that it come up to $40. Let's see if we can get back up there. SMCI, nice little runner.
Squeezes on it, it gets to $40.
I hope
40 on the daily, it will be like a monster.
I'm getting more out. Still at 40%.
If it can get there on SMCI, which I think
there it goes.
The market reverses, a stock like that is primed to go. So there's the hold again on Tesla at the 420 consolidation. It just broke the half, 422 half. I got some out, trying to get some on the way up at 421 half, 422. Eventually we just get $422.5 break. So we're going to go long in here, give it to the local bottom, and try to run to the highs. Tesla still could be a breakout the top type story. That's the other way to look at this. Like if we end up, you zoom this out on Tesla from yesterday's move, all you've done is retest afternoon support and then now head toward a high. So I think play to the high and then the breakout's its own trade. Like if it breaks out 428, that's just something completely all different altogether. So VWAP into that high and then look for a break on its own merits. Adobe is still at the money. And Google all of a sudden doesn't look good. So I was looking for the Google long. I'm going to cancel orders on Alphabet now. It's not going to make that breakout. You're trending down. So now we wait for 191 on Alphabet. That was the only other place that we were looking for some kind of a long trade on Alphabet. Adobe, as I said before, it's made a bottom. In a consolidated bottom, it hasn't broken out of the range yet. When it does, I want 485 and then I want 490. We're long at the 422.5 zone there. Sorry, that's Tesla. We're long 482.5 on Adobe. It's making the run, but VWAP is always a target on an SSR play. It's down 12% for a reason.
If you are interested in some of the stuff that Neil and I are doing here live on the show, no better chance to join the pool. Get in with Trade the Pool. Trade the Pool just launched a limited edition program for a one-time fee of just $300. You'll receive $80,000 in buying power and the chance to become a funded trader. Hit a profit target of just 4% or just trade Tesla today maybe, and you'll start trading with the company's capital. Get funded faster and easier with the new condition designed for success. The best part is the profit split has been upgraded to a generous 70%. So you keep more of what you earn. Don't wait. Check it out now and see how Trade the Pool can help you trade bigger and better. Please click that QR code right there on our screen to enjoy that 10% off. So again, you know, Neil and I do not trade with Trade the Pool, but we are here at Real Trading, which is a prop floor, very, very similar, obviously, to Trade the Pool. So we want to thank everybody here at Real
We're still
Trading.
trading with OPP.
Yeah, and you know me. you know, so that is. And one person over there trading with, actually not really trading, is over there at the news desk. It's Brendan. Let's go over with the recap.
Lots of small cap, low float type stocks moving around to talk about today, guys. Let's touch on this one real quick. GoEV, Canoe. There was rumblings yesterday. I was reading during the midday, it was, of the possibility of bankruptcy coming very shortly. Texas-based Canoe possibly running out of money, but there was an offering going back a couple of days. So back to 18 cents right now. Big move up here, 41% for GoEV so far. This one we touched on in the pre-market. PALI was a fade off 320, that pre-market high, on the way back down again. Another one in that same kind of space, TRVI, 60% to the upside so far. $5 a tag to the upside there. Also a fade back to 4 right now on plenty of volume as well. So lots of low float small cap names moving today, guys.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
All right, so I just got some more out of SMCI. I mean, it's just hovering at VWAP, so I'm going to take some more out on that one. And we did just take another piece right there on AMD as well. So AMD came back in. I'm happy with it. It tried to run 130. It stopped there, but that's a pretty key level. So as we said here again, 5% left of AMD, very, very light on IBIT, but it's nice to see IBIT kind of retrace right back to the upside right there. So that's going to be another area right there for me to just put an offer out and see if I can get it. 57, see, we talked about this yesterday. Neil knows all about this. Like, because it's a fee-based game here most of the time, I tend to offer rather than just punch out. So right there, we are now having to wait because I offered 74. And sometimes you make a mistake because you should just punch out. It's never, the fees are never worth losing even 1 cent gross, but there it is. Anyways, we get to 74s at some point there. So that's what we're doing right now with everything. And we're just going to wait here to see if the market wants to continue its upside move. I mean, Tesla, good trade there. You're into that one. I see you're into Adobe as well. The short there on NVIDIA. And then, yeah, AMD, SMCI. That's it, man. We're long IBIT, SMCI, and short AMD, looking for some more trades, potentially Palantir.
Yeah, I think like Palantir was so strong, and I was with it. And then now it's finally back above VWAP, like kind of doing what I wanted to say what Microsoft was doing, but Palantir is a different beast. I don't want to compare it to Microsoft. This is probably headed back in for that 75 level. Obviously, we got Tesla instead. So that one's holding off of VWAP. I don't want it to lose underneath the 425 level. But if we're going to come back in for a reload, then maybe this is it. We're breaking the highs in the market right now. First, check that. We've broken the opening range, at least. We're breaking back into the opening range on the market. So I would expect the next leg should be to test this 426 here on Tesla. But it does look pretty good. That does mean NVIDIA, well, I'm looking for that reload. I want to just adjust my price. NVIDIA is back into VWAP. So we're short at 37, which is VWAP. Look at it hang around. Look at the wick that it did in a 137.5. If it does the same thing again, wick up here, fail there, I want to try to get back in on the way down. That's the plan of action there for NVIDIA. And shout out any small cap names that you might be working with. I haven't been looking at a ton of them, but as things settle down, you know, we don't mind looking at some other names. But I think I want to look for a place to add Tesla. Like if it's going to hold 420, I think we should be trying to add on the way to 428. Add into a break instead of only taking a break on it. And what is Adobe doing? Yeah, Adobe's still going sideways. It goes in the money $1, it goes out of the money $1, but no real breakout into that 45. Maybe day one isn't going to be the bounce on Adobe. I don't know. Right now it's a scalp trade, which is not what I'm looking for. Brendo?
I'm just noticing ARM here, guys. Nothing obvious on this as far as a headline, but just took out the highs on decent volume as well. 3.6%, big day to the upside here for ARM so far.
I was like, people were saying ARM in our ear here, and yeah, nice move there for ARM Holdings. 148. We said that, like, you know, who's next in all of these things, right?
Who next?
Yeah, no, yeah, who next and who next as well. But yeah, for right now, we had a whole bunch of new highs, and ARM Holdings is well off of that. So, you know, you could get a nice little bump up there on ARM, and you're coming into, again, I just like the 150 area. I'd rather wait to short that. So I think you got to be a little bit patient here if you can for this ARM holding trade. So we'll wait up 3.5%. Good little trade right there. SMCI, we do have 30% left now. So this still could be rotten. That is for sure. I'm not going to average back in because right now the market's doing oppo. It's going down SMCI while the market's going up. So we don't necessarily like that for a trade, but it is back to a level where we had refreshed that. So if it's something that you guys like, there might be something here for that as well. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening right now for ARM hold or for SMCI, but ARM with the strength there as well. You're in NVIDIA. I just want to check it. Okay, so it's just doing that because I'm in AMD, so I was trying to do something there. Palantir as well, trying to come into play here on the downside, of course, for Palantir. Already hit $73. It held the 200 period moving average. So something interesting to look at. Palantir up 1.7%. Yesterday was a very, very tricky day, in my opinion anyways, on Palantir. But at the end of the day, that $73 mark looks like it wants to hold.
Have you seen that? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Have I seen Apple?
Yeah.
No.
How'd you know I was going to say that?
Oh, I feel like you said.
Oh, yeah, maybe I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, have you seen Apple? The literal opposite of Ramin just said Sean cheated and looked at my
I actually heard you say
we're sitting next to each other. I did say, have you seen Apple? So
I have integrity. Ramin on the other hand.
Yeah, Ramin.
Possibly.
Bearded Warrior Trades. First of all, shout out to Bearded Warrior. My university, our University of Waterloo, was the Waterloo Warriors, where I went to school. So I'm with you on that one. Apple 250, I don't know. We were basically only halfway there, and yesterday it failed 250 abjectly in what looks like a really bad topping tail candle at a high. That's why Apple wasn't on my list today, because when I see that kind of a topping tail, usually my first thought is it's a head and shoulders until proven otherwise, and this would be the shoulder at 248.5. So if it loses that, I think you got to jump out of it. Oh, sorry. I think I would look for a mean revert. If it holds above it, then you think you make the run at that 250 level. NVIDIA is trying to go again, but look at this range on NVIDIA. And the bulk, let me just zoom in here in the 15-minute. And the bulk of this range is between 137.10 and 136.40. So the bulk of this is, it's moved more, but it's like a 70-cent range for most of the trading on NVIDIA, which is whack. Don't get me wrong, it's whack, but it's down 2%, and while the market's doing this, holding the highs, like it's kind of holding the low. So it's still valid for the short. It's just where is the follow-through NVIDIA, wherefore art thou? And I feel the same way, I feel the same way about Adobe. The difference between the two is like, one, NVIDIA, that's a trend trade. Adobe on an SSR bounce is a rule of thumb on an SSR bounce. If it's not going, then I don't want to just be sitting in it forever. That just doesn't, that's not the name of the game. The idea is on a mean revert that it goes and then it makes the run higher. It's consolidating at the low. It's consolidating underneath the prior bottom. Like that's not that's not an SSR bounce. The SSR bounce is, it bounces here and it gives you that move right away. You know, like I'm breaking a rule, watching it consolidate underneath the support level. Like it's almost like it's gearing up to go short. So I'm going to jump out of that trade. We'll stop to fail on it. And ultimately, I could have decided to scalp out for a profitable one, observing that rule for like $1 winner. But it's better to get out when it violates your rule eventually than not at all, as far as I'm concerned. It's not giving me what I want. Tesla did give the 425, but it didn't give us any more at VWAP. So we played it VWAP to 425. The next stage is going to be the next available higher low. We're going to keep playing Tesla longs. If it ends up just a breakout at the top, then it ends up a breakout at the top. But those were always going to be two separate trades as well. So Tesla headed to the high, the market headed to the high. Google's back at VWAP. And yeah, it's a good thing we got out of Adobe. Like, we just probably saved ourselves another $1.50. That's headed back into the lows. It might just not be today for Adobe, not Obi. Did I say Obi before?
Oh, I don't know.
I might have.
Maybe.
I might have.
Yeah, today, yesterday was a hard time finding a couple winners. Today, we're going to go 4 for 4. AMD, IBIT, SMCI, and Tesla. So far, so good there. Tesla, obviously, a big one early on, and now it's settled down. It's right back to that level. Like, if you're long, I think this is going to be a spot for you right now to think about exiting. We've now triple topped here at 426. So just be careful with all of that. What I got to before was we got to go for a little bit of a run right now. now. 1.1K, over 8,000 of you watching right now. Hit the like button if you haven't yet. Make sure you hit the subscribe for sure. Join us every single day as we do this every day. You know, tomorrow will be Obi and Neil again as I'm off tomorrow. So we'll keep on changing that up. We have our normal midday crew, man. These guys are the hardest working too. Sharif and Joe, they'll be there tomorrow, today. Oh, Sataya tomorrow. Oh, no Sharif. Okay, yeah, perfect. Vacation time, baby, around here. So shout out to Sharif and Joe on the midday. But let's get this going. Let's see if we can get to 1.5K here today. If you haven't hit the like, please do so. Let the algorithm know. And then share the likes. Share the stream. Share it with everybody as well. SMCI, we able to get... Oh, no, we did not. I offered 40s, I guess 45s. I guess we must have missed it. Yeah, 44s, actually. I thought we had got them. But here comes SMCI right back in, which is absolutely no problem for us. It's been a huge day, but the thing is, we're also short AMD, which is coming back in as well. So I'm going to take advantage of that, put a bid on AMD, get out of a piece here as we struggle to stay above water now on SMCI. So again, nicely traded on SMCI. We only have a third left, but at the same time, a third is still a third. And if it drops back in, we will give back some of that profit. So let's make sure that we take advantage of this little dump down. We're at the highest spot we've been at all day, regardless of SMCI. Unrealized, we were at more because, you know, we could have got out up there, but just for straight net, like if I covered all of my positions right now, we'd be at a high spot. We don't have any losing trades right now. We were able to get out of IBIT right there as well at 80s, so that's a good little tick there as it's dropping back down. If IBIT takes out where we're long, we're out of this one. Although we only have 4% left, probably just a chill moment here for IBIT. Let's hold out on that one. So SMCI, remember, teens and we're out. So we're getting pretty close to that right now. We had dropped off from this level before. This might be a good area to reload a little bit on SMCI just because right now, risk to reward, very, very... Oh, look, I put a bid and it rips up. Give me those 21s. We'll see if it's worth it here. This is going to be about 5 cents worth of risk for a lot of upside. So we'll wait to see what happens there. I'll punch some 24s there on SMCI.
So Tesla's curling at the same place again. We jumped out of it, cut a couple of bucks out of it, and the same thing's happening at 425. You wicked, got to 426 once, twice, now for the third time in here. I would expect if we pull back, I'm looking for a higher low. It could be off of VWAP. We bounced 417, we bounced 420. So if we were to bounce 422 to 423, that would be ideal. And then you'd be higher lows into a flat top break, and then we stay bullish on Tesla. The other place I was going to go to, and remember we said Adobe's not looking good. You know, there it goes. Right, so we get out, and it's continuing to make lows. I'm going to get rid of that in a second. But now you're starting to fly to the downside on Adobe. On the daily chart, just going to point out to remind everybody, this is a 475 on the daily. That's kind of like the Alamo. Let's see. That's where I'll look for the next opportunity for a mean revert.
Did you hear that?
Bad boy.
Did you hear TTAN?
What's the tap?
125.
I have 150.
Yeah, it's indicating 150.
I see 150.
Yeah, I just heard it in my ear. That's why I was like, what the...
I'm not going long at 150.
Here it is right here. We were going to show you the tap right here.
That's insane.
So I don't have an order out. I'm not going to put an order out.
Not at 150.
You know, we were that whole 40,000 shares before. No, we weren't. But right now, now it's more reasonable, Neil.
Hold on a second.
144 now.
But have you seen this? Look at the tap.
I was just going to call.
Okay, so here's my issue with this IPO. And like anyone, do whatever you want with this IPO. But usually when we're excited about an IPO, the paired volume is 155,000 shares. They're issuing 9 million shares. There's 155,000 in the auction. So either it's not opening for a very long time, or there is nobody in this open. So there is no chance with that price and with this open interest that I would take an opening print in the stock. I'm just not going to do it. So that's wild. Like, it's incredibly tiny, everybody. I think that's a bit of a disappointment. I mean, if you're looking for this one to be... It was never going to be Reddit, but I'm still going to call that a bit of a disappointment there. Yeah, probably not going to end up trading.
We could still wind up trading it.
Well, we might still trade it, but it's not going to be I'm going long off the open and just free money like things like snow, not snow. Snowflake was like that.
They were on me.
That was like that. Coinbase was like that.
There was a whole bunch of that. So we got stopped out on SMCI there because it did break, and now it's ripping higher as the market goes higher here. So we will wind up being, okay, especially if it goes up now. Oh, I was going to wait for 50s there. I guess I was not. What is that top? 50s, yeah. We should have waited. We got out of 40s there on that break. I'm going to try. I mean, it is rebounding back upside here. I think this is just, I don't know what's going on. This seems to be a little bit of a squeeze here. I'm going to go short now at 55 here, as there it is. Now
Oh, here comes NVIDIA again, too. Everything's coming up.
Okay, so that's okay.
NVIDIA's blasting through VWAP.
Is it? All right, so it looks like a good out there, good couple outs now. We're talking about how light we are on AMD and on all of these stocks, to be honest with you. But we do have a reload. We did have a bad trade there on SMCI. I thought since we had broke lower, we could go short there. So we were short in and around here. I think it was 25s or so. We didn't get because it was SSR, we weren't able to punch like a full position down there once it was breaking. It didn't even break 30, so we didn't get very many shares. But it's like right now we're into this name, and I just want to give it basically to where we'd failed before here on SMCI 38. Well, here it goes, 38.75. I want to average in here at 70 and then give it that break. So 38.81. That's too bad because, again, this is where we know when we can get offside here, right? And again, we're feeling like we're maybe doing that right now where we were long. Now we're getting caught up in what's been happening here with the market and the chip name. So let's not get like too offside as now we're not near the high of the day for ourselves, that we just gave some back there on SMCI. So we're short 55s. Let's just give it some room here. Breaking 80 and we're going to get out. That would be well above, that'd be that 10 cents above VWAP. So I'm pretty comfortable doing that. IBIT made a move back upside again. I'm going to hold out that maybe big crypto continues to run. So yeah, man, we'll hold on to that. Okay, SMCI. Okay, Neil, here we go. Finally. All right, there it is. A little bit pushed down there. We get out some 38s there on that move back in for SMCI. So, okay, we'll see what happens here. But, yeah, we're short SMCI.
Yeah, I got out of the scalp on NVIDIA at VWAP, and now we're looking for the trade that happened last time, which is the press over VWAP into 137.5. If it does the wick, then we'll jump back into this. The other thing that's happening is Adobe. Okay, Adobe just broke trend again, so we're going to go for it a second time on Adobe. I'm showing you guys NVIDIA in case it does the wick. I want to be ready for it. But Adobe just broke trend a second time. I'll go for the long again for a fast and strong press back into VWAP. Giving it to the local bottom is the name of the trade there for Adobe. Local bottom is actually 478. So again, if it makes a fresh low, then we jump out. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If we get a wick like we did here in NVIDIA, I jump back in on the other side of the trade. And then Tesla is the other thing that's going. I do still want to get back into Tesla. I have a breakout for the high. Obviously, it's not at the high yet. We still have a chance that we could get a VWAP retrace here on Tesla. It's holding some higher lows. We played it VWAP to 425 for a couple bucks. But Tesla's looking strong here. The market's holding the highs. Tesla's holding those highs. Certainly looks like it could be moving very, very well there. Patrick Riley, why is APPU moving completely different from AAPL? Well, just be careful. It might be. I'm not familiar with that, but if it's a derivative, it could just be a reverse derivative. That's always a possibility. So just make sure you double check. That would be the first thing you want to do. We're going to sector watch, and I'm going to get my offer out to make sure we can take profit on Adobe if it goes up.
Yeah, might as well.
About as mixed as you're going to see this board so far today. A lot of gray on here, which is basically flat. Nothing really happening. Pharmaceutical names, the healthcare technology sector, basically the entire thing. Merck, Amgen standing out there a little bit stronger than the rest. Pfizer as well, about a full percent, but a lot of basically flat numbers to look at. Tesla, one of those. This group as well, the retail focused sector. There are some red names. Home Depot, the actual brick and mortar retail names, pretty red on the day. Amazon, Walmart, back to the upside right now. Just went positive actually on the session. Amazon not quite there yet, still in negative territory. NVIDIA and Broadcom offsetting over in this sector so far today, the technology group. Strength from Apple, once again, as the guys were mentioning. But again, a lot of gray, a lot of basically flat names in this group. Meta, Microsoft offsetting Google and Oracle. It's a bit of a coin flip at this point as far as those are concerned. Worth noting, Coke and Pepsi up more than 1.5% each so far today, guys.
Yeah, we were talking about that. They got an upgrade, right? So KO got that upgrade there, but I think it was already up. Yeah, so it was kind of already up a little bit there today. We talked about that with Nimrod and talking about how, where could we possibly diversify a little bit, and maybe Coke on an upgrade right there today, up 1.5%. So yeah, good name there. Thanks, Brendo, for bringing that to our attention right there. Okay, so the only trade that I'm working with 3 trades here, but the only trade that I'm like super excited about really would just be SMCI, only because it's actually moving around a little bit. We've already exited a lot of our position here on advanced micro devices. It just did bounce off the 200 period. This could be another area to look short there. You know, another name that we don't cover that much here because it hasn't split yet. And when will it split is the question, I guess. And that's going to be Netflix. Netflix almost at $1,000. You do have a split name reporting tonight that I think they will announce a split. And that's going to be Costco. Costco up at $1,000 right now.
It's about time.
I mean, you guys want to talk about a break of 1,000. I mean, that could be a key level, but it doesn't look like it for Costco today. It got up to, wow, it took 4 digits, man. The very, you know, I don't know. Happy birthday to Costco. It looks like maybe it did it yesterday. I don't know if that was in the pre-market or not. I guess we could just do this and find out. Yeah, so it did have 4 digits yesterday, but it had it again at one point there today. Watch out for Costco. I mean, again, obviously we love the stock, we love Walmart, we love all of these names, but at the end of the day, it is really heated to the upside right there. I like Costco, and I think that they can continue to perform well. It's always a risk taking shares into earnings. I mean, Adobe has the great quarter and loses, right? And I don't know what, it's at 480 right now. I can see your position. So yeah, and that's part of the problem. So no matter what you think or what you know about a company, you don't know the CEO, and if you do, then you got to watch out that he doesn't tell you too many things. So watch out there for.
Well, if he tells you, that's his fault.
Well, you can't act on it, though, right? Yeah.
No, you can
slow down there, Neil.
You can be told anything. You just can't. Yeah, you just can't act.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say. So
the guy wants to run his mouth. You can just. Sit
yeah. Well, I mean, hey, the CEO of Costco wants to come on and leak earnings, or CFO or something. We're down for that. But what I was getting at is like they could have a great quarter. I don't know what's in the pipeline for them. Obviously, with Christmas just around the corner, my family was at Costco yesterday, and I believe the bill was easily north of $700-800. So that is what it is right there at Costco. Just a normal day, like a normal Friday, is $500 or whatever day it is. So
yeah, you got. But remember, like, you have a big family. Like,
not really. I mean, we have 2 kids, but at the end of the day, Costco continues to win. You know, and that's the whole point. I'm saying you pay more because you know, there's something. Oh yeah, and we actually did get some super chats.
I wanted to, so we got a few super chats. I want to shout out Marty. I'm in a second SSR bounce here on Adobe. So it made the hold of the 4. The first one was holding in front of 480. This one's a trend break in front of 478. But if it loses 478, I'm out. Jackson McBride, just thank you for the super chat in general. We appreciate you. And then the Corleone family. Shout out to the Corleone family. Is there a chance Palantir can reach 76 today? So that one, I mean, the obvious answer is, hey, there's a chance anything could happen. Look, Palantir is holding higher lows. Oh, that's right. We're only going to be able to see Palantir. You can zoom out your chart if you want. Ours is since it went to the NASDAQ. But you can see what's going on with Palantir. I love lit grab reversions. So this is a liquidity grab underneath 71 happened yesterday. I wasn't here to see it. And then if it breaks out 75, I mean, if it breaks out here, 76 is easy. But the market's literally curling right now as we speak. So you're getting the market curl, and unfortunately, you've got the 75 resistance on it. So if I was not biased on this, and the market rolling at this level, I'd be looking for a mean reversion. And if it breaks it, get out. If it holds trend, longs into 76. But you can sort of see the trend line that's starting to form there on PLTR. If it holds that trend, then of course it can get to 176. But you're running into some market resistance here, as we can't seem to get above and break away from this open. That's an open top, 21.72. If you're consolidating there, I like that. Anything that's holding VWAP, I think you look for longs. That's why I like longs on Tesla. But yeah, I feel at the same time, Palantir, it's bamboozled before. The setup looks great, but I think you got to be patient with it. Let the market decide. We're into the 137.5 hold on Tesla. So if it breaks away from here, I jump out. Tesla, NVIDIA. If it breaks away from here, I get out. If it breaks down, I want 136.5 into the lows. And I just heard ARM again, which we keep not pulling the chart up.
Well, I called it up. It's under that 150.
The annoying thing about ARM is, I was telling Sean, it's kind of a weird, sick joke. Every time I put stink bids on ARM, it's like the day after it goes. Like just yesterday, I was like, oh, look at ARM holding the 200 period moving average. I like ARM. I like the 200 period moving average. Look at it just holding the 50 to the 200, the 50 and the 200. I'm like, I'm just going to throw a stink bid in here. And if it gets down to 136, I'm just going to add to it because I keep never adding to this position of mine in my long term. So I put that in when I see it. And what does it do? It breaks out to 50 and goes running today. So that stink bid is absolutely not going to happen for me on our. But look at the consolidation. Like, why wouldn't it break out? Technically, this looks fantastic. Right in between both moving averages for a week, you could have been buying this, the 200-period moving average. You wait late, and then it goes. You know, and I waited late.
Oh, show. Okay. Yeah, there's so many names to go in there and dip by. We did just get out some more AMD as it just came back in. So again, now we have 3% on that one. IBIT now, IBIT's almost $1 over there. So Options Joe is very, very excited about that one, Joey Options, because we've talked about IBIT and holding on to crypto. It's really nice to see 102 coming into play right now. So let's go, man. This is right here. It's an easy peasy play. We took it off the sticky note. It gave us the exact price right there at 57.25. So we'll see it. Just wick that. I just put it at 06. You see? So there's another example there of chasing the bid ask. Like, we could have just punched out right there. We only have a small piece left. All right, SMCI, let's go, man. Ring the register now for that one. It just got super excited again, and we had fallen out one more time of our trade. And what I mean by that is we should not, this short right here, if we're going to try to teach everybody, this short was unnecessary. Right. If you come over to the screen, I'll show you guys. This short right there, unnecessary. So this one, fine. We didn't get a full, I tried to punch short there, admittedly, but because it was SSR, it didn't. It hung on the offer. I was able to cancel. We didn't get it. Then when it ripped back up, I was like, oh yeah, this level looks okay. So we wanted the short, so we took it there, only to get blown out once it finally took that level. I was like, we're wrong. But then look what happens. Like, we become patient again, as we talked about this. It's why Tesla worked today. It's why IBIT worked, because it just came right into our position. But you know, being patient, AMD was a perfect example. We waited for that 132 to come in. And so there it is. There's the 200 period and the 50 period. We wait for it, and it just falls right there like no problem down to the downside there, as if it didn't even go up, right? And so anyways, that was the mistake. I'm fine with that one. Glad we didn't get it all, because it would have made this even worse of a trade. But right back in there for SMCI, putting it roughly flat on the day. We are waiting for more. We just got a 20 fill. I'm in the teens, and then I still think it breaks lower through 38. So, I mean, I like SMCI to the short today for sure. IBIT is right back up. I'm pretty sure we'll get this. You know what? I'm just going to put in here. You know what? Let me just put in 02. I'm doing it again, by the way, right there on IBIT. So now I'm going to wait at 02 and probably miss it again. Do not. Oh my God, I could have punched. Same mistake again. Okay, good thing it's not on a lot of shares. All right, hopefully we get this IBIT fill, but right now, you know, you got to spend your money somewhere. Let's go find out what's going on with the exchange rates.
Dollar strength all week, guys. Back in action once again today. If you missed it, pre-market, we brought it to you at 8:30. Make sure you're with us every single day. Producer prices coming in hotter than expected. Remember yesterday, CPI basically flat across the board, no change whatsoever. Producer prices, PPI this morning comes in a slight uptick, 0.4 versus 0.3 on the month over month overall. Was expected to be 3% in November, a slight uptick. So guess what? We're hearing from Jerome Powell coming up next week, the 18th, the next interest rate decision. So we'll get a read from the Fed on what they think. But a lot of opinions, I was reading this morning after that PPI print, a little bit more cautious coming on the back of what is expected to be 2 in a row there. I mean, CPI didn't follow through, but what was expected to be 2 in a row back to the upside. There's the dollar, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now 5 days in a row, straight back to the upside. Basically anything against the dollar going to be down on the day. We did touch 108, if you remember, and change going back to the end of November. So 106.9, 107 coming into play right now for the DXY, guys. So multi-week lows, basically, for anything but the dollar right now.
You know, we were just sort of saying the banks here in Canada are like, recommend everybody, excuse me, recommend to everybody that you make sure you renew. Rates are going rates aren't going to get cut. Then they do a double pump. The Bank of Canada, it is what it is when everyone knows you're in a rate hiking cycle, or rate cutting cycle, not hiking cycle, I should say. So here we are, NVIDIA, every single time it breaks out resistance, we get out and we look for that reversion back in. It's like for every one win you get a stop out, and it's now trending higher lows into a flat top break. on NVIDIA. So either it breaks back underneath the trend or we just don't trade it. Tesla wants no part of a VWAP bounce. Again, like it did it for you once. It doesn't want to do it for you twice. It's now headed for, it just looks like it's headed for a break at that 428. So I don't know if we're going to get the reload on Tesla. Like for me, a frustrating morning, Adobe can't hold the bottoms. It's been the Tesla long that's worked, and it's a Tesla long I'm not getting back into. I was patient for it to hold the 420. We got it the one time it held the 420, and now we're trying to get some kind of a breakout the top or a play back into VWAP. Long NVIDIA, well, I never came in looking for a long NVIDIA, so I didn't want to change plan. And it's still red and at VWAP. So it's not really giving me a long setup on NVIDIA. That's why I'm not going long into it yet. And the market is still consolidating up here. So overall, like you can still lose the bid, shorts become valid again. Like you're in a decision point where I'm not going to take this and go long a stock that I had a short idea on or that I think is relatively weak. To me, that just doesn't make any sense. And we're still in a zone where I want to be looking only for my long setups that I like long in the first place. If they're showing strength, then I want to continue to work with those. Like Tesla still looks like a long to me. NVIDIA, it has to prove it, and I'm not at that point just yet. And then the other one, which I've been patient on, I haven't made a trade on Alphabet. Alphabet's now holding VWAP. Suddenly this looks much better. You know, Alphabet wicks the bottom. It never got to 191. I thought that would have been the low today. Never gets there, holds the higher low, and you're working back toward this breakout still valid. Like, it's still very valid now that we're holding VWAP to be able to go red to green over on Alphabet. So it's either this or Tesla for the long, for myself at least. And Tesla doesn't seem to want to give us VWAP again. And if it doesn't, my order is set for the breakout of the high of the day.
All right. Yeah, so just back over here, just real quick. So IBIT, haha, funny guy there. We got out at 57.90. We actually wind up losing. We don't lose anything, but we could have gotten out up there at 58, and we were being stubborn and trying to get the offer, which
can't be right.
Was not good there. So we just punched out anyways at the end of the day.
This is ridiculous.
So, all good on that one there for IBIT. I mean, IBIT, so right now, we're just kind of have done really well there. I mean, Tesla is going to be big for us. IBIT's going to be big for us. And then the other trade that is going to be, well, P&L number one will be, they'll all be very, very equal right now as far as AMD, IBIT, and Tesla are all concerned. SMCI, we're just waiting for this. I mean, we just got a bunch of teens. We got 18s, we got 20s, we got 22s off of this push. So we're short 55. So that was a nice little move to the downside, but it's not over yet for sure. Let's check out Riot.
Don't look.
Yeah.
What do you think the tap is on TTAN?
Oh, man. Titan. Okay, it was 144, so I'm going to say it's higher. So I'm going to go with 154.50.
$200.
No.
This is.
Are you sure I didn't look there, Ramin? Are you sure I didn't?
No, this is actually ridiculous. Like, come on, and it's a factor of there's still only 250,000 shares into the open, which is an infinitesimally small number.
$200.
It's a $71 issue. The tap, it just went from 200 to 268. It's now gone full, okay, I can't see. It's gone full nonsense. Tesla just broke and is probably going to be a fail break. It's absolutely ridiculous there. So Tesla just broke to 28 and we'll see what happens. But no, if I wasn't taking it before, I am obviously wanting zero part of that opening on Titan or whatever the heck it's called. Tesla broke to 28, but if it's not going right away, what the heck? Oh, sticky keys? No. Okay. No, I thought I disabled that.
I know, that's the worst
that's
when
fine.
they show up.
Yeah, I got to double check
too much, and all of a sudden it's like you on,
No, like that's the sticky key thing is one of those features. Like I swear I got that. It happened the other day, and I thought I got rid of it again. So Tesla broke the 428. I'm getting some out the $0.50 because it's not really going that fast, and that's where my out is. So if you go here's 427.5. I'm taking this break with a stop underneath that local high for 50 pennies. So when it gets to 50 cents, we're going to take some out. When it gets to $1, we're going to take some out. And then if it gets to 430, we're definitely taking some. I don't know about when.
You don't think so?
I'm trying to put into context how ridiculous that Titan tap is, but I can't actually think of an IPO that was this ridiculous in a very long time.
Hopefully it slows down.
Yeah, like if it opens up closer to like 100.
What did you say it was?
It was two.
Well,
no, it was 200.
Now. It's 250 now.
It's 250 now. So I mean, this is ridiculous.
It's not going to open up at that.
That is
price.
ridiculous.
It's not. If you come over here right now, I mean, Neil just showed it again anyway.
I don't even know what to say to that.
I don't think it's opening at that price. That's...
I'm kind
we can't do anything about it. You can't short it right now. You just have to sit there and wait, right? And I mean, I think that's unfortunately something that
Right, Tesla's retesting. This might be a fail break.
Okay, yeah, so I'm still on Tesla here looking at this as well. 428 move upside there, just gets as high as 429 and change. But this is what happened to us yesterday, man. A lot of this is like you got to
it's back under the 50.
Yeah.
I'm out. The break, I think it wicked the high of 429.44.
Ouch.
I took out less than half.
Damn you, Tesla.
So it's kind of more of like a flattish trade. But again, if you're trying to hold, for me, if I'm trying to hold for 430s and a bigger win there, then I don't mind just getting out of that one. If it holds a consolidation above, great. But the other day, and I'm just going to show you, the other day, this is the 400 break. It ends up down at like a 380. And if you fought this, you got absolutely shellacked. So the breakout trade initially works for you. You scalp it out. If we end up holding above and consolidating above, that's a different trade. I don't mind. My style of trading is always going to be, don't get rinsed on this. If it pulls back into 420, if it pulls back here, that's a different trade than taking a breakout up here. Make sure you're not holding breakouts forever. It might end up working, great. We'll find our way back into it. If we're going to 430, there's going to be plenty of opportunities to get it back in to the upside. I don't like getting caught in traps, and if that's going to be the case, we can patiently wait for another entry. Google's not holding VWAP, even though the market's strong. The market's holding up here, so I'm going to keep looking at Tesla because it's the one that's trending up. I don't see what else is giving you that trend trade. It's certainly not Alphabet. It wasn't Apple, although that could definitely be changing. Okay, Apple's actually holding out pretty nicely here, although it's got a bit of a, I don't know what you want to call that formation. Maybe a chartered market technician will tell me what this looks like. It's kind of a bull flag, but you're making lower highs into it. So Apple could still make its run, but Tesla, still the one that I want to look for that long. And even if 28 didn't quite work out the way I would have liked it.
Yeah, Tesla, it's still there, right? It's still there right now. So, all righty then. Thank you for another great show, of course, here today. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I mean, how many do we wind up getting there at the end of the day? 1.4K. So thank you so much for all of that. We're just going to wait, man. And we've been doing our own damn thing right here as well. Our style so far today has been to be very, very focused. Only 4 names today for us. That's very, very similar to what we've been doing. And it's been working out. So there's SMCI. We're going to hold out for this one. I don't have any more bids now until the floor. So hopefully we get to 38, and then we'll just view it from there. That's going to be my next play there for SMCI. As far as IBIT is concerned, we've already rang the register on this one. This will be PNL number 1 for me today. No more offers on that one either. We're going to go hit the pool and see if we can get some little laps in there. It's 11 o'clock. Maybe it's a little bit late today to take any new positions on IBIT, but we're going to throw it over to the guys. I just want to show you that 58.25 was a spot right there, just because we're still in it, looking for areas to possibly get something out, but IBIT right there at 58.25. That was the level of concern. So if it breaks through there, I think you can probably hold that for that nice little long, but until then, good luck. What are you guys doing today? Options, more. All right, trading options, selling, buying, all of that. Plus, they're taking questions throughout the whole midday. So, all right, man, there goes Tesla again, back through 428. AMD trying to go back up to the upside. IBIT now $1. SMCI, it's going to be a fun one. All right, it's 11:01. All right, good day trading there today. We'll throw it back over to the side, and we'll see you guys again at 2 p.m.
Tesla's trying again, guys.
We'll chat then.
Oh, where's our intro, Ram? I'm not doing the whole thing unless you do the intro. There we go. There we go. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade. That is your boy.